And hello, 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 hello. How's it going, everybody? How are
What's
we
up?
this evening?
Good evening.
Doing great.
I'm
Excellent.
doing fine. Just dandy.
Just finding Danny. That will work. That will work for tonight. And for everybody who's tuning in, we welcome you for being here. This is Here on the Wastes. This is episode number 7 of our weekly RPG session that happens every Friday night here at 7 p.m. This game is based on a game called Horizons Unknown After Earth RPG that is actually being created and developed by myself. My name is Scott, aka Shogii. I'm your game master. We have our amazing, intrepid band of adventurers here again. We have Eli playing Skag Retlaw. We have Ryan here playing Rev 118, our cyborg cyberjackal. And lastly, we have Mr. Berger here playing Otis Dirtbanger, our crazy PTSD survivalist, who is currently muted. Yeah, you're muted, but yeah, there you go. This game is a futuristic sci-fi game that is set in the distant future of 2422 on a alien planet known as Soldaria. This has happened about 400 years after the death. You're still muted. The death of Earth, where the last remnants of humanity made a mass exodus looking for other habitable planets in order to maintain the human race. And in turn, they found Soldaria itself. Soldaria currently, right now, is a bit of a wasteland, hostile environment. It is an outlawish society. Humanity is at war with artificial intelligence, that which was known as the Eldar Priory. The Eldar Priory was artificial intelligence that was created to help guide, maintain, and protect humanity so they would not make the same mistakes that they did on Earth. Unfortunately, the Priory over 300 years ago decided that the greatest threat to Soldaria, as well as the human race itself, is humanity. So, an ongoing fight between humanity as against the machines, the constructs, as well as an ongoing feud amongst themselves. Humanity is fractioned, it is leaderless, it is split into many different associations and cities, and they are at war with each other, as well as the constructs, as well as just trying to survive Soldaria itself. Um, in regards to our sessions here in our group, these gentlemen decided, with the help of one Mortimer Mondragon II, Esquire, to um, lead the 200 plus group of children, as well as mother, who is a Saldarian human hybrid, across the vast wastelands of the Western Wastes over to Mortimer's home, where he states that that's where Rose is, number one, and that you guys agree that might have been the safest place for this group, to get out of the caves and the caverns themselves, to get away from the prying eyes of Father, as well as the outstretched arm of the broken. And in doing so, um, you suffered some casualties. Mother has been injured. You're not exactly sure how gravely that is as of yet. But you also, in the midst of your travels, 15 young souls were lost, and one of them being Blake. As last that we started off the end of the last session, and we'll start off this session, you were sitting on the crest of a ridge, looking down upon a homestead that is sitting on a lower, farther western ridge, overlooking the oceans of Soul, where Mortimer points out that this is the homestead. You do notice that this is completely off the beaten path, completely distant and away from things. Rev, as well as Skag, and probably Otis as well, probably would guess that this is maybe about 20 miles north of Cambaron itself. You did notice that there is nothing around here at all. There's no other outposts. There's no other small encampments or anything like that. And you kind of feel the cool breeze of the ocean blowing upon you. At last, we remembered Skag. Visually, how do you look in regards to all of this?
Are you talking about like after the fight? How am I looking?
Right, as you were kind of like, as we left the last, you wanted to know how they actually viewed you or were looking at you like. What is visibly? Are you kind of holding up a front? Are you showing anything that maybe this has affected you in some way?
Yeah, no, I just wanted them to see by my stature and like how I'm looking that I'm still. It's a front. It's a front. I'm obviously still standing there like a ominous guy, but if you look deep into my eyes, you can see that I'm upset over the 15 kids
Okay.
because Blake owed me money.
Rev and Otis, go ahead and roll awareness really quick. Just see if you kind of pick up on anything, as well as maybe the outlook of Mother as well. A 5?
I rolled a 19.
Okay, so it looks like we are, even though it has been 7 days, that rolls are exactly the way they should be. Rev rolls really high, and Otis rolls in the garbage. For a guy who rolls a d20, you roll in the lower 50 percentile more than anybody that I've actually met. So it actually makes it pretty interesting and fun. Okay. Otis, you're just kind of in your own thoughts with everything. You as well are, maybe even more, you're actually more outwardly affected by kind of everything. That if there was some kind of hard shell, that there's a chink in it, it's been cracked a bit. You're still trying to like keep it together, not outwardly falling apart or anything like that. But visibly, probably with Skag would kind of even take a look, that you notice that maybe his countenance and his look he's a little more saddened or at least preoccupied by something. Rev, you do notice that you almost kind of feel it's par for the course with Otis, his character, a little bit, based on kind of everything he's been kind of going through. But you see that Skag seems visibly that there's something weighing on him, and you do notice that Mother is really more so worse for the wear than you initially thought.
As in her health?
And just the overall.
Okay. Well, as soon as we see the farmstead, Rev wants to immediately say to Mortar, we need to get these kids and Mother inside and safe so we can see to our injured, because we have way too many people in bad shape right now.
Mortimer, still sitting in his large kind of like war frame, turns to you and he just goes, I completely understand. We best make a move on. It's going to be a little slippery going down this ridge, so make sure everybody is kind of bunched up together, holding on to each other.
Rev goes to support Mother specifically because is she the worst off of any of the kids, you think?
In regards to physically?
Yeah, physically.
Yes. You do say that when she has a very large, almost like gaping wounds across where she tried to initially block in order to protect some of them. And you do see that there's mentally, that it's not like she's 100% broken, but she's grieving heavily inside.
Okay. Well, Rev wants to physically help her down this slippery slope, whether that's putting her arm over her shoulder, even carrying her if he needs to, whatever he needs to do to make sure she's safe going down.
Okay, so you just kind of give her a shoulder, kind of prop her up and kind of help her down. Skag, what are you doing?
I want to grab, I probably only do 2, but I want to grab 2 of the children that are really, really bad and help them down as well.
Yeah, there's definitely some wounded kids that have been kind of just limping along. You kind of just grab a couple of them. Obviously, the ones who are, again, worse for the wear, and you're going to try to just scale down there. Otis, what are you doing?
I'm I want to stand right before it's getting slippery. You said
Yeah, it's going to go down
before
into a
the
bit of an
steps.
incline.
I want to stand before them like an usher at a movie theater. I don't know. Single file, one at a time, one at a time. Be careful. Watch your step. Da da da.
Okay. Okay. So as you guys
I
start,
said da da da.
that works. As you're kind of like, as you all three of you are just kind of like helping maintain a single file line, maintain the footing for some of these kids, just kind of guiding them along. You slowly reach the bottom without any more injuries or mishaps or anything like that. As you reach the bottom and it flattens out, Mortimer kind of like makes sure that everybody's together before he ventures forward. And what you do see in the distance is you see a home that's probably sitting on about maybe 10 acres or so. It's a humble home on a humble piece of land that's overlooking a ridge over to the ocean itself. It doesn't look like much has ever been done to the land itself, being tilled or worked on. Or if it hasn't, then he's long since given up on doing any of that. It's not overrun, overgrown, or anything like that. It just looks like something might have happened, and then it long has since ceased in regards to that kind of progress. What you see upon the land sits one building. It is 2 stories, kind of a matte gray coloration. It's made out of some heavy-duty metal material. You're not exactly sure of what exactly it is, but is as much as the vault door to the haven was kind of pieced together. You can see that this one equally was like that, but done with much more care. Somebody actually wanted to make a livable and presentable house as best as he could, and maybe he was doing that for the sake of his late wife that he didn't mention, which his name is Bessie, who he named the Mech after. And each one of the corners are these large kind of stone pillars. So there's an element of masonry that had been put into this as well that kind of hold up this humble abode. You do notice that this home is filled, that you can even see kind of from the distance, filled with shimmering lights that are dancing off of it. Rev, probably having the best distance, can notice that there's a lot of glass windows, more so than you probably see in a lot of other towns or other installments or abodes that you've kind of stayed in, or any kind of inns. You get, if anything, that maybe it was he had a beautiful view of this nice piece of land, and he wanted as much light, as much of the outside world to be into maybe this small, isolated, drab home of his. There's a nice cool breeze that's coming upon you as you guys start to walk and start to get closer to the homestead as well. You see that on the perimeters, there are trees and kind of shrubbery that come out, and you do all of you roll quick awareness if you can. Let's see if you make these out.
8.
Okay. Skag?
12.
12?
Oh, wait. Yeah, it would be 12.
16.
16? Okay, Skag and Rev, you do notice that kind of hidden in between some of the trees, you see large, kind of like metal poles, almost like little towers that are placed approximately maybe 20, 40 yards away from each other that line the perimeter as well. Especially Rev, who can see longer distance than obviously than Skag can. You can see that there is a flashing red light on the top of these small little poles installments that are on there.
Rev would like to say to Mortimer, is that a perimeter defense system you got going on there?
He kind of looks back at you and he just goes, "You got a good eye there."
And Rev says, I like the way you think. It's always good to keep a defensive perimeter close on standby.
He goes, "Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much." He goes, "No, as you guys kind of like, you're having this conversation as you guys are getting closer, he does kind of like put out his arms and kind of stops you. You do see that he starts to access his sidekick, and that you start to hear a slightly powered down sound. And those red lights flash to green. And he looks at you, Rev, as well as Skag, as Otis. So I'm guessing you guys are all together at this point. Especially, I'm guessing Rev, because you're kind of holding up Mother.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at you, and he kind of gives you guys a bit of a smile, and he just goes, "You got to stay protected out here, more so from the wildlife and the vermin out here that kind of all over the wastes." He goes, "So I rigged a ton of stable plasma flux convectors to create a bit of a plasma-powered fusion shield, not easily seen by the eye." He goes, "It works like a charm. You never know what is out there until you walk into it, and then your souls and atoms are fried to a crisp."
So where do we stay away?
And he looks at those, and he just goes, "Well, what was that again, son?"
What do I stay away from so my brain stays in my head?
What brain?
Massive.
Mortimer
Just your ego.
Mortimer actually gets a little bit of a chuckle out of that one when Skag just goes, "What brain?" He looks at you. Either way, he kind of like looks at all you. He just goes, "Either way, it's down now. So come on." He goes, "Rev and Skag, lead them into the home. They'll be fine there."
Mortimer, I want to just make sure, because we got a lot of kids here, is there any visual indication of what we should stay away from when that field is online?
I will tell you that as long as you stay away from the towers and the pylons, and that if the light is flashing red, you be dead.
Okay, we better make sure these kids
Red
understand.
be dead. There we go.
So red be dead, if that's easier for you to remember. So either that he kind of like stops and he waits for all of you to go in, and once you guys kind of do, then you see him go back to the sidekick, and you hear a slight powering back up, and then you notice that all the flashing lights around this perimeter all start to go red again.
Okay.
As now that you're closer, you do notice that this house is quite a bit larger than you initially thought it was, from such a distance away. That the two stories seems to be, maybe it's like 5,000 square feet or something like that of just a home itself, probably much larger than Mortimer himself could ever have used. But he does kind of like move a little bit quicker, kind of passes you guys, doom, 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 as he does. And right before you like reach the entrance of the door, there's a small little landing and steps. It's the closest thing that you would think to an earthen home that you've ever probably seen, and you guys have all probably seen some kind of pictures and some kind of data logs or data files that have been passed down. You can see that he's trying to reconstruct something that isn't readily known and seen in regards to at least to your ventures and your experience itself. You see a little rocking chair that sits on the front step as well. And as that happens, the door kind of slides open. And what you see is essentially a repurposed motor tracks and a construct being attached to it kind of rolls out, and he's mostly kind of like an exoskeleton with this very kind of like square head. And he comes out and he just goes, "Hello, master. Glad you are back."
He's got his own C-3PO. Wow.
And Mortimer just goes, "This is my friend here. It gets lonely out here. His name is Rolo. Rolo, say hello to all these people." And he goes, "Hello, all you people." The children.
Okay.
Oh, do you walk up to and poke it?
Yeah,
As you try to do that, he initially just puts out this very long arm and puts it right to your face. He goes, "Please, no touching."
yeah.
As that
Cool.
happens, like 15 or so of the kids just kind of come up and start touching this robot. They're just completely just enamored by this thing that they've never seen before. And you just see him just kind of like his head starts to go 360. He's just like, no touching, no touching, no touching, no touching, no touching.
I chuckle more.
um,
The biggest kid of all laughs.
Mortimer just goes, he goes, Rolo, do us a favor, take the kids inside and tell Rose that we have some guests. And he looks at you, Rev. He just goes, take her up to my chambers on the second floor. We'll make sure that she gets taken care of and she can rest there.
All right, thank you, Mortimer. And Rev immediately, as quickly as Mother can handle, takes her inside to try to take her up to his second floor. I don't know if Mother would be like, I want to see Rose or anything first, but I just want to get her to a place where she's comfortable. She can kind of lay down and rest.
Yeah, as the most of the kids are still kind of outside, just enamored with Rolo. Obviously, Skag and probably Otis kind of lead some of the kids in. And as you're kind of like trying to take Mother up to the second floor, you hear a scream of a young girl who comes running out. And what you see is a young woman with red hair and a very pale complexion. She stands about 5'1", and she has 2 full cybernetic arms. She's wearing a jumpsuit that seems to be overly large on her. So she has everything kind of rolled up to as high as it possibly can. And that's why she has these exposed cybernetic arms, but she has human legs. And she kind of runs through all the kids and runs directly towards you because she sees Mother in your hands. And she starts going, oh my God, Mother, you're here. It's Rose. It's Rose.
And Rev says, "Be careful, Rose. She's injured. We need to get her someplace where we can patch her up and get her someplace to rest quickly."
She looks up to you with now like tear-filled eyes, and she just goes, "What happened to her? What happened with her?" And with that, Mother almost kind of slightly kind of passes out a bit.
Okay, Rev says, "We can discuss this later, but we have to get her someplace safe. Is there a bed? Is there a tub where we can get her washed up? We need somewhere just to get her wounds cared for, and then we'll tell you what happened."
She goes, oh, of course, please. She goes, I'm sure he'll let us use one of the rooms or one of the beds. And with that, she
So
just
Rev
kind of like
follows her.
Yeah, she's kind of running ahead of you, but she's kind of like holding on to Mother's arm as well
Okay.
to kind of like help you guide up. You can see that she's completely distressed now. With that, she kind of opens up the door, and you see what is just a very kind of quaint, cozy room with a bed it would essentially be like a single person bed. And she just goes, "Please, lay her here." She goes, "I'll tend to her wounds. If you can go downstairs and there, I know there's a medical kit down there. Rolo could help you find it, and we'll do everything we can for Mother here."
Okay, so Rev, I assume I would have picked her up by now when she fainted. He
Yes.
just carries over as gently as he can, puts her on the bed, and then immediately goes back downstairs to find the medical kit with Rolo's help.
Okay. With that, you kind of she's laid down. You see Rose is initially trying to like inspect the wounds, seeing how bad it is. She does run, and she kind of gets a towel with some water. She's kind of like putting it over the top of Mother's head, just kind of like talking to her. Some of the kids come running up as well and start to flood the room because they've seen Rose and they want to see what's happening with Mother. During this time, most of the kids are just kind of like worn out. They're sitting on the ground. Mortimer, you do notice, is taking kind of like his war frame, and Skag can probably see it from the windows, that he's just kind of taking it around to the side maybe to kind of like park it, and then he'll come back in. Rolo is attempting to do what he can, and he kind of like ventures off and kind of goes after Mortimer himself, just as being some kind of protocol droid, if you want to kind of look at it that way. With that, Otis, Skag, and Rev, I'm guessing you take the medical kit up to her?
Yeah, as soon as Rolo gives it to me, I take it immediately up to Mother. I make sure none of the kids are crowding too close.
Right.
And I tell Rose what happened. I tell her that she's got scratches across her chest, and that here's the medical kit. Hopefully she can do something more than we were able to do.
Skag and Otis, what are you guys doing at this point?
Trying to bum a toke off of Morty's pipe.
Okay, so you go out there and follow him?
Yeah.
Okay. Skag?
I'm just gonna go outside and just sit in that rocking chair.
Okay. Just roll the D20.
Let's see if I can sit down, boys. I rolled a 19. I can sit.
Okay.
And it didn't break, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's not a 19, actually. It's a 20. I forgot that the M19.
Oh, the M, yeah, M's a 20. Yeah,
It always throws me off because it says M19. Like, just
so you actually go to sit down, and you notice that it's a little more narrow than your large frame, but you remember long ago, because you've always been kind of like much bigger than some of the other people that you've dealt with, that somebody told you think thin, and you kind of like and just kind of like swoop. And you're like,
with that, the chair breaks. Thinking thin doesn't work.
And you're just kind of like you and the chair are like one at this point, as you kind of like slightly kind of rock back and forth.
I hope no action starts, because if I just like hop up, that chair is stuck with me. I'm gonna be like hunched over trying to fight. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, you guys.
Other than that, no, nothing. The chair does not break. You start to hear some structural integrity, some kind of creak in there, but it maintains and holds. It holds true. Otis, you see that Mortimer's kind of like stowed Bessie into the side, and he plugs it into a generator, an iron fusion generator, in order to power up the frame itself. And with that, he kind of like jumps down from like the cockpit, and he kind of takes a look at you, and you're like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, he's like 5 foot at the most. You're like 5'1" or something like that, 5'2". He kind of like looks up at you, and he pulls out his pipe, and then he just kind of goes. He starts to put what you would guess in some kind of tobacco. You do know that tobacco does not exist in this world, so it's some kind of synthogen. It's something that was created in a lab. Okay. And when he does, it's kind of like a little droplet, and when he drops it in there, it kind of expands into something. And he kind of looks at you as you're kind of like staring at him, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. And he's about to like light it up, and he just kind of goes,
I need to calm my nerves. Do you mind if I take that?
Roll persuasion.
13. Oh wait, I got advantage. 13.
Okay. He looks at you and he just goes, I figured, boy, you probably could use one. And yes, he just happens to have a second pipe. drops it in there. It seems to expand a little bit. Hands it over to you. Lights it up as you kind of like you're smoking this in. Roll Constitution.
That's a big 6.
Okay. It hits you like a ton of bricks. You feel like your lungs are on fire.
Please tell me that I hear this from outside. The cough's so loud.
Roll awareness, Skag. Actually, roll awareness, Rev.
Oh god!
You want me to roll awareness still too?
Yeah, everybody roll awareness.
Okay. I got a 19. Let's see.
I rolled a 17.
Yeah, you can hear heavy coughing. Even Rev, who's upstairs, amongst the kids and a crying Rose who's doing her best now to use the medical kit to kind of clean up the wounds and to apply it to her. That you're kind of like, Rev, you're almost right up next to a window and you can kind of hear this. And you kind of like, you even take a look out and you kind of look down and you can just see poor Otis is kind of like hole in his lungs and with Mortimer just puffing away and he's laughing at poor Otis.
Rev just shakes his head. He knows exactly what happened.
Skag, do you even you actually try to get up and you're like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, I try to get up and I just go, not today, dum-dum, and just go back.
You said it's just as similar to tobacco is, right? It's nothing crazy. It's not that. I get it.
Yeah, it's obviously it's something that's been chemically created.
It is unfiltered.
And it is. He gave you the hard stuff. Is what he essentially what he gave
He's an
you.
old man.
Yeah, he hits the hard stuff hard, man.
Yeah.
He kind of just like laughs and chuckles at you. What are you doing, Otis?
I guess I want to regain myself, but then I'm gonna go for another.
You're gonna go for another one?
Toke. Yeah.
He laughs.
I can't wait until Otis passes out from this.
He looks at you. Looks at you again. He just goes, "You might want to take it slow."
I take a small one.
Okay. He
Nice
goes.
little drag.
He goes, okay. He goes, go for it. I'll be here to catch you in case you pass out.
And I do it.
Okay. Roll Constitution.
It's a big 6.
Okay. Yeah, you drop to 2 knees. This one, it doesn't hit you as hard. It comes on a little bit quick, but you're definitely, because of the first one, it's like being just kicked.
Lightheaded.
Yeah, it's but it's being like kicked in the nether regions.
Okay.
And it's like you almost don't feel anything. It's just all the blood has just left your brain as you kind of drop and you get a little bit dizzy on this one.
Marty, you mind if I keep this for later?
He kind of looks at you. He looks up. I'm guessing you kind of look up to him as you tell them this.
Yeah.
And he's just got a big grin. And he's just like, you can have that one, boy. It's on me.
Oh, thank you.
And Rev says through the window, Otis, give it a break, man. Give it a break.
I don't even pay attention. I'm just,
Mortimer doesn't even turn around to take a look. And he just kind of like walks back off into the front.
I guess I'm just chilling there. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hang. It's nighttime, you said? Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hang out there and regain myself for as long as it takes, I guess. And
Sure. Okay. As it kind of happens, you see Skag as Mortimer kind of walks by, as you're kind of sitting there on the chair, and he kind of gives you a smile and a bit of a chuckle, and he just goes, "Your friend back there, he'll be all right."
Damn, that's a shame.
With that, he opens up the door, and he walks back in. Now, you could probably hear this as well, Skag, as you're kind of sitting there on the front porch. Rolo has gone into the kitchen and he's doing his best to try to concoct and make up something that 200 plus kids can actually digest in order to keep going here. Where do you guys park your stuff? Because you were coming on the hover trike as well as the motor tracks filled with all that stuff.
do we recognize any other structures, like a shed of any sort, on the property? Yeah,
he does have a second shed that's kind of like off to the side that is kind of surrounded in in some kind of like metal fence. With again, everything has like metal railing with stone pillars. So everything has been some kind of stone masonry pillars that are holding this all together.
Well, Rev kind of leaves it to the other guys because he's
Rev's
upstairs.
Yeah, Rev's
You're,
upstairs.
All right, so you're
pacing.
staying with Mother. Okay.
Yeah, I'm staying with Mother, just pacing up there.
If you can, Rev, roll. Do you have science or do you have anything?
Athletic, strength, awareness,
survivability.
Mystical. I have mystical and engineering. Those are probably the two closest. So.
Yeah. So essentially, you're watching as
Rose.
as Rose is just kind
I
of doing
can
her
pray
best.
for her.
Yeah,
That's
if you want to start, just maybe
I
like
can begin a shamanistic chant.
sure,
To
you
the
can
spirit.
absolutely do that. You actually, as the kids, probably 25 or so, it's getting crowded in there. Start to gather around Rose. A lot of them are holding on to Rose. Rose is holding on to them, as she's kind of done her best to suture the wounds as well as clean them. The kids are all kind of, doing the best to trying to help clean up some of it. You kind of like step back and you kind of move out of the way, and you find kind of a small little bench, almost like almost an ottoman of sorts, that you kind of like sit, and you kind of like rest and kind of go into your little chant itself.
I am one with the Force. The Force is one with me. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me.
Yeah,
That's my chant.
it's a good chant. It's a good chant. At least it came from a good movie, so it's a
Yeah.
good chant.
Yeah.
With that, Mortimer goes in there, starts to help Rollo prepare some kind of meal. He's also setting up clean towels and such, so they can put it
We
on top
can't-
of her.
We can give that meat. Didn't we have some meats left over? Maybe we can make
Yes.
sure.
Yes, you did. You had
5-6 pounds of meat I wrote down.
yeah. Otis has it, right? Because you're survivability. You're the only ones who can butcher it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you could knowing that, Otis,
We could give this.
Otis, you do have that. I'll let you decide. You could make something with it, because you would definitely have some kind of
Like some
outdoorsman
jerky or something.
cooking. He can make some kind of stews. He can do something with it. It's something
I'm
that
gonna
would
make
definitely...
jerky. I'll make some jerky. I like jerky. I had it a few sessions ago.
Rolo's cooking meals for the kids. He's over here
Yeah.
eating Slim Jims.
Like
What the heck?
Yeah.
giant meat for some jerky.
I'm good.
Okay.
Slave
what-
jerky. Let's go.
Yeah, so you go in there and you do notice that there's a couple large kind of like furnaces in there. These are obviously some kind of like conductor furnaces. These are, they're not just like wood and stone or anything like that. So you go in there and I'm guessing you ask if you can salt these things in order to dry them out.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
salt on
What-
you?
Do I have salt on me? No. So, I guess
Okay.
no.
So
No salt.
yeah, Rollo kind of looks at you and just goes, "There is salt in the cabinets."
All right. So I'm gonna grab the salt out of the cabinet.
Okay.
God,
You see that there are a few that this is a storeroom that has a very large quantities of whatever is in there, like salt and other resources. Some of it is flowers, and you do notice that there's kind of a kind of cooler that is in there as well.
Cooler.
Mm-hmm. There's almost kind of
Wow.
like some kind of flash cryo cooler.
Can I open
The
it?
equivalent of a refrigerator, but
I love it. That's his first question. Can I open it?
yeah. So you can open it, and
And
you
I
see
go and open it.
yeah, you see just large stalks of some kind of meat. And
Is it
would
dried
you-
out or?
no, it's just kind of flash frozen.
Okay.
Meat.
But it's got prime marbling that you do notice.
Why is it that Otis gets to discover this stuff?
So we have steaks. Okay. I'm gonna take it out and let it thaw, and I want to cut it up like steaks.
Okay, remember this is the future, so all you can just put it in one of the
Oh, I have
the,
like
the
go
convection ovens, and it automatically will unthaw it for you. It's not like you have to sit there and wait hours anymore.
makes your-
Oh,
Yeah.
It makes your steak jerky so much more accessible, you know?
oh, then I want to do that and just cook that sucker up and have one giant steak.
Okay. Well, sure. With that, Rolo is attempting to make some kind of stew or something that you get that he's using. It looks like the same kind of meat that you had just found in this flash cryo cooler, and he's just making like two gigantic, large, like almost cauldrons of these things. As you go in there to find salt, you come back out. I'm guessing with some kind of large
Meat
large
slung
beef
over his
slab.
shoulder.
And what do?
I just slam it on the table and say, Rolo, make this work.
And he looks at you and he just goes, I only have 2 hands.
Wait, Morty didn't give you like 4 or 6?
No, and as he just goes, well, not yet. That'll be in the upgrade.
Ooh.
And as
That's
he
a nice
as he does that,
upgrade.
he takes both hands and and like with super speed, both of them just simultaneously start stirring these large.
Good job. Hurry up and then finish my dinner.
Okay. He just kind of like if a robot, because he's not a cyborg, he's just a robot. If it could actually show a face, it would be a F you. But he just kind of like turns and he goes back to just going. He starts to go back. Obviously, he's taking in the information. But
Cool.
do you just kind of like walk out now?
No, I'm gonna stand there and watch him. I want to learn how to cook.
Staring at him awkwardly.
You're a survivalist. I thought the reason you started was because you were gonna make something.
He did. He made a robot make something.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surviving.
With that, it probably takes him 15 minutes to make these kind of large stews. And with that, he kind of like, he's got like these, like almost like a Swiss Army knife kind of accessory hand. And as he kind of like, his hand kind of like collapses in and all of a sudden like this big blade kind of pops out and he starts to chop into that big lump of meat that Otis brought to him. And he starts to slice it up really nice and he looks at you and he just goes, how do you want this cooked?
Burn.
And with
Burn
that,
it.
yeah, he kind of like moves like these large pots and kind of puts them off to the side and he kind of like lets them cool. And this large kind of like conductive flame is on there and he just takes it and just goes and then he looks at you and he just goes, you can decide when it's done, and then he just walks away.
Okay.
Dude, that robot is just fed up with you, man.
Yeah. I
You
have
know
this
you're
way
bad
with
if
people.
you upset a robot, all right?
And with that,
I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes to take it. Oh.
Okay, so it starts to get engulfed in flames initially and
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah.
It starts to billow some kind of like black and white smoke that is coming out off this open
That's good.
flame as he kind of takes these two large pots and he kind of puts it out into like the main table out there, and he looks to the kids and he just goes, "Dinner is served." And with that, you can kind of like Otis, you can kind of hear all the kids kind of like running towards this. To the sound of obviously him. Skag, you kind of hear it as well. Are you any of you guys hungry? Rev has not heard this.
I'm gonna wait until the kids are done eating before I even think about going in.
Okay,
Right now,
so-
I'm just kind of sitting out there with my thoughts.
You're just kind of like, you kind of look through the window, kind of see that they're all kind of like getting
Yeah.
fed.
So mainly, I'm just sitting there outside, not only just with my thoughts, just kind of surveying the area.
Sure,
making
just
sure-
kind of watching, overlooking
Yeah.
your obviously your equipment that you brought as well. It's probably just sitting out there in front. You do kind of roll awareness really quick. You do kind of as you're looking back through the window.
I had 9.
Okay. You believe that as the kids are kind of like all kind of going back and forth, that in the far distance you can see Otis standing over like this billowing smoke in the kitchen, but you're not exactly sure if it's Otis or if it's somebody else.
Just gonna assume it's Otis at this point.
With that, as you're kind of like doing that, Mortimer goes upstairs to kind of take a look and assess the situation. And he kind of just sees all the kids in there, sees Rose. And he just goes, Rose, dear, You should come over here. Speak to this gentleman, Rev. A lot has gone on with Mother.
And Rev has been just kind of chanting the whole time, and
Kind of like a
As-
deep shamanistic hum almost.
yeah, shamanistic, trying to call out to the spirits for aid so that Mother will heal, kind of thing.
Right.
And he slowly comes out of his, I guess, trance that he's in, and he says, "Rose, if Mother is stable, I can tell you what happened."
Oh, she's kind of like she's standing in front of you. And for a 21-year-old girl, there's just still flashes of just an innocent face, and because it's almost like in the back of while she's doing that, you see that Sarai is kind of taking over where Rose was.
Okay.
You know, kind of like watching over Mother, patting down her head, making sure that she stays cool. You almost, especially for you, Rev, it's almost like looking at every young girl gives you a flashback to something of your past. Even though Rose is 21 and much older, you still see an 11-year-old girl in almost everyone. She has the same look. She kind of looks up at you, and she kind of gets onto her knees, and she sits there and she just goes, "Tell me, what happened?"
Rev has to take a second to collect himself because he's, he sees flashbacks of a certain person, but he collects himself and he says, "Should I start from the beginning? Or do you want to just know what happened to Mother?"
Well, Mortimer kind of like chimes in. He just goes, "Maybe it's best if we just start from the beginning."
Okay. So Rev starts from the point when they entered the cave the first time,
Okay.
and just tells them he doesn't want to tell them that all the details of the job they were on, but he does tell them that they were on a job that they were just trying to hide in the cave, and it led them to finding Sarai and Blake, and that's when that brought them to Mother. And then he tells them the whole kind of episode of them
Immediately
meeting Mother and all that.
Right. Immediately when you say that, just like a flash of realization hits her, and she just goes, "My God, where is Blake? Where's Blake?"
And Rev can't even talk. He's just just when he thinks of the kids that were lost, the rage starts building up again. So he just starts shaking. He can't say anything.
She reaches out and puts her hand into yours, and she looks at you, and you can see visible tears. She goes, "Where's my brother?"
Rev says, "Blake was your brother?"
"He's the only family I have left."
And Rev stands up and walks downstairs. He can't say anything to her.
You kind of just pull your hand from her, and you
Yeah,
just
I
keep
pull
walking.
my hand away. It's still shaking in like rage,
Okay.
and he just walks downstairs. He can't face this situation.
Okay. As you kind of like let go and you kind of walk out, you can hear Rose start to audibly just start to bawl her eyes out. She knows exactly, based on your reaction, what happened to her brother.
Rev stops at the door before he goes down the stairs, and he looks back.
Mortimer is kind of like now got his hand on Rose's back, trying to comfort her as much as he can.
And all Rev can say is, he and Sarai were the bravest kids of all. And then he goes downstairs. That's all he could say.
Okay. Skeg, roll a d20. Let's see if your sniffer is good.
I'm gonna stop right there. I rolled a 20. My sniffer's perfect. So.
You can smell burnt meat from a mile away. It's starting to fill the inside. Obviously, for a minute you actually kind of snap around, thinking like, "Where's that from?" like you actually don't visibly see anything, and then the flashback, you're like, oh, it was Otis back there. Otis, are slowly starting to fill the kitchen full of smoke as you're kind of watching this thing kind of billow up and just char. Do you want to try to open up some windows to?
Oh no.
No, you just want it all, right? Smoke.
No, yeah,
Ninja vanish.
Yeah. No, I'll open like one window, and then I'm gonna go through the cupboard. I'm gonna try to gain some spices, spice it up a little.
Roll investigation.
Investigation we got, and it's an 8.
Yeah. Everything looks just foreign to you.
That's cool. That's cool.
So you
I'll
just
throw
start,
whatever.
you start grabbing a few things and you're just dumping it on top of stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, or is it something else? Or are you just kind of like are they in your hand? You're just kind of like looking at them? It's just not processing?
No, I'm putting it on.
You're going for it?
Yeah, I'm going for it.
Yeah, all right.
Brave man.
As you kind of like you start kind of going at it, and you're Bobby flaying it up. You start just tossing stuff on top of it. The kids have now stopped like in mid eat of like spoonfuls, and they're like watching you as you're kind of like
Yeah.
As we're going to Flavor Town.
he's going Flavor Town. He even kind of like spins and just like he's like
all kinds of moves.
Rolo,
That's the survivability.
Rolo just kind of sitting there just going and he kind of like moves forward. He goes, "Excuse me, children, excuse me," and he actually grabs it and he like flips it because you hadn't flipped it at any point, and it's complete charred. Like if there was anything that was edible there, it's long since gone.
That's fine.
Okay. You're still trying to make that jerky?
I don't think that's how you make jerky. But,
No, it's not how you make jerky, but I'm gonna try to make jerky out of it now.
Okay. How long do you want it to sit on there, Otis?
Oh, I'm ready to take it off.
Okay, so you go ahead and you take it off. What do you do? As you come
What do you do
down,
with jerky now? You salt it up and you store it in something? Is there like something I can store it in to make it jerky fast?
like a dehydrator or something?
Yeah, is there a dehydrator?
you can roll investigation to see.
Smoke.
I'll investigate. 16.
Okay, yeah, there's one.
Cool.
There's absolutely one in there.
All right, I'm gonna power that sucker up. I'm gonna
Yeah,
throw
you just
the
kind of
meat in
hit the
there
button, a small little power up. It
Sounds
sounds
good.
like some kind of vacuum sealing that is going on there, as obviously the air and the oxygen is being pulled from it as you kind of like toss it in there. And then what do you
I
do?
suspect it's super duper or something,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
'Cause-
dude, like
yeah,
this,
okay.
this is going in 5 seconds. I'm sorry, like
Oh,
like
awesome.
1
Okay.
minute, and you got as jerky as jerky can get.
Okay. I want to make as much jerky as possible, and I want to place it in a separate bag.
Okay, so yeah, you initially take a look at it, and it's probably like the size of a.
I'll be right back.
Probably something that's maybe like 12 by 12. So you kind of have to cut up this kind of like slab of beef because it was quite large, right down the middle, and you kind of like toss it in there. You close it up. You kind of hit the button, and you hear it go, ding.
Nice. And I assume I'm covered in smoke, and I just
Yeah.
take it out of there. and
you
I
pop
throw
it.
a piece in my mouth, and what do I taste?
What you taste is the most. You know what? Why don't you roll a d20 and you tell me?
All right, I got an 11.
Okay, I can tell you that it is. It's, if you're honest, it's edible. Okay,
Burnt squash.
but it is NSFW. It is not safe for work.
Okay, I'm still gonna eat it.
Like you figure that maybe 1 or 2. Like this stuff is potent. Like whatever you tossed on there is that's the stuff that you eat in the morning as I get up and go, and you're riding on something.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, this
it's
is
like
good.
it's almost like wasteland fuel
There
in
you go.
in jerky form.
Jerky form.
Yeah.
It's the new line.
It's definitely some kind of meat. Um, you're not sure if anybody else would like this, but in your head you're thinking this could be big.
Yeah. Okay.
This,
I'm into
this
that.
could be big. You know, there are a few
Into
obviously
that.
kind of like bags and stuff that you can kind of like toss this into. Are you
Oh,
gonna?
I do it. Oh, I store it as much as I could. I'll carry it on me in
Yeah,
my bag.
you're going for it. Rev, as you kind of come down the stairs, you're kind of like overcome. You kind of lost some thoughts enough for you to turn and see just a line of kids staring into another room, and smoke kind of billowing out, and you smell something that just you're not
Overloads my
you're
sensors.
not sure what in the world that could be. It just there's something that doesn't smell right about this. It almost smells to you like something died.
Yeah, it's like something was left in the fire overnight.
Yes.
I am so like overcome with
I've left the kitchen at this point.
With like these
Yeah.
things in hand.
Yes. I went on the porch or something with it.
Okay, again, I
Yeah.
guess you see Otis just kind of walk by with like these big bags of something.
Yeah. Well, Rev is still so overcome with like his kind of like anger and sorrow and all these emotions from not being able to save the kids that he also walks out the door, but he goes a separate direction from everybody just to like
Okay,
be by himself. He doesn't care about food. He doesn't care about what anybody else is doing.
gotcha.
He just
Okay.
wants to look out kind of at the sea. Is what he wants to do.
So yeah, you easily kind of like you almost kind of follow Otis out as he kind of like turns around to kind of see that you're there.
He
And
offers me some meat, and I just walk right by.
wait, did Otis? Do you offer him any meat?
I do, but he walks by, so I'm like, okay, and I eat the piece.
As that, you kind of just watch Rev just almost make a beeline towards the furthest ridge. He can't obviously go too far because he can't go past the force field, but he gets as close as he can as you obviously visibly see the perimeter, and you can kind of see the rolling waves in the ocean that is out there. Again, you see the two large moons right there as well of Kaio and Tavo.
Okay.
And maybe for a moment there's a little bit of peace and serenity that kind of comes over you as you can kind of see obviously the blues and the purples of the cosmos as it kind of goes by.
As I'm looking out over that, all of my mind is like flashing back between two scenes. The one scene is when Blake and the other kids were attacked by that wolf thing. What was
Right.
it called?
The Waste Towns.
Yeah, Waste Towns. And the other one is back to the day that my sister was burned in that fire.
Right.
I don't nobody else knows this, but
No,
that's
no, no,
what
no. That's just what's going on in your head.
it's like those two scenes are like just playing themselves back and forth in my head as I look over this
Sure.
tranquil scene.
Not a problem. Otis, you do see Skag is sitting there in a chair, kind of like now looking at you.
He looks like he's looking at just nothing, right? Like he's staring at a wall.
No, he's looking at you, just thinking to himself,
Oh, he's looking at me.
like, anything,
What do
buddy?
you want? What do you want?
And he just goes, what do you got there?
Oh, really good stuff. Actually, I would be so pleased if you would try a piece. And I hand him a piece out of my bag.
And he looks at you and he just goes, I don't know how to take this, skinny man.
What? Just eat it and shut up. Try it out. I'm gonna push it to him and
He goes, he looks at you and he just
push it
like
on
and
him.
he's like kind of like trying to like stop you a little bit. He's just like, where'd you find this?
I made it.
What do you? He goes, what do you
It's
mean?
jerky.
He goes, what do you mean you
It's
made it?
jerky. It's jerky with a kick. All right, try it.
He looks at you and he just goes, "Jerky with a kick." Like you could
Insert it in his
see
mouth.
you could see the little question mark, and then you gotta like put it in his mouth.
Yes, I'm gonna just push it into his mouth.
Like so, it's like with okay. So that is Skaggs here. So
All right, Skag, you are getting my
Otis
completely
Otis
burnt-
is shoving his jerky into your mouth.
Guys, I go to accept a phone call from my boss, and I come back to a fucking jerky-filled festival in my mouth. What is going on?
It's a piece of burnt jerky.
I try to fight
and
it
I
off,
just-
but
Yeah.
he's now physically trying to shove it down your mouth.
You were bothering me, so I want you to try the jerky out.
Is it in my mouth yet? Is it in yet?
Roll.
gotta-
You know what? Both of you roll a strength check and see how far you can get this into his mouth. That just sounds wrong.
I rolled
That
a
does sound
16.
wrong.
I rolled a 16. How far is it in my mouth?
What does Otis roll? A 1?
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So Otis, you
Sorry,
go to put it in his mouth, and you just kind of like it just hits his teeth and just drops on the ground.
You don't know artwork when you see it.
I know artwork and I know trash when I see it, little man. This belongs in the trash.
You call me little or skinny one more time, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you.
Smack the shit out of me, and I'll turn you into some beef jerky, some good beef jerky.
And I turn around and I walk away from him. Can't believe he just did that to my jerky.
Everyone's a critic.
To do his jerky.
Yeah,
He's not even mad about anything other than the fact that you did that to his jerky.
yeah, pissed.
Roll. Roll intellect, Skag.
I got a 17.
Yeah, you actually kind of like decide to kind of pick up and take a look at this so-called jerky, and you can see that it's not really jerky. It's just really dehydrated, burnt meat, and you give it a quick
I
sniff,
was about to say, you don't smell it.
and as far as you know, it smells.
It burns my nose hairs.
Yeah, yes. It's like it singes the nose hairs. Like, there's whatever he has been calling jerky for the past 4 or 5 minutes. You're just like, my God, I can't believe he's been eating this for the
Out
past
loud,
4 or 5
out-
minutes.
Out loud to myself with it in my hand, I'm going to say, maybe this is why he is how he is. Looks unhealthy and unsafe.
As you guys kind of like spend some time, at any point were you Skag gonna go in there and try to get some food? All the
Yeah, I was
kind of
gonna-
kids are kind of eating. You just kind of grab a bowl and go back to your seat or something.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Sure. You as you're kind of, especially for you, as you're sitting on that kind of that porch, and just kind of eating this actually a very nice bowl of some kind of pork stew.
Not Otis's food.
Right, and you don't you obviously 100% start to know this is kind of like some kind of pork stew, almost like a ham hock, which is kind of known as, they do have pigs here, but they're called hoggers, and they are obviously biogenetically created, so they're not something that is readily natural to this place. So you initially think to yourself, how does he have this stuff? Because usually only towns kind of have it, and obviously the upscale towns. As you kind of like sit there and you eat it, and it's kind of a nice warm stew. You can see in the distance off to your right hand side, Rev, who's been kind of sitting out there, just kind of standing out there, hasn't really kind of moved, just been staring out into the distance. As Otis is completely on the opposite side, what are you doing? Are you like kind of right next to the vehicles? Did you kind of like walk further away, Otis?
Yeah, I wanted to go next to the motor trike,
Okay, so yeah,
hang out by them and stuff.
obviously, yeah, Rev is quite far away, a couple, maybe 100 yards or so. And Otis is pretty close to you, and he's just like just chewing away on this beef jerky, kind of tossing you a couple dirty looks.
Yeah. Fucking answer.
Roll. With that, Mortimer comes out. And he starts to light up his pipe again. And he just goes, you guys can rest here and decide what you boys want to do in the morning. You could tell that to your buddy Rev. I went up there to check on Mother. She's resting easy right now. Her wounds have been sutured up, and the kids have been fed. Most of them are starting to get a little tired. So you guys are more than welcome to find any one of the available rooms and take some rest. We'll be protected and safe out here.
I'm not gonna. I'll leave room for another kid. I'm gonna hang out on the trikes. I'll fall asleep out here.
He goes, are you sure?
Yeah.
He looks at you and he kind of nods and he just goes, I can understand from the likes of a gentleman like yourself. You like to be out here in the wilderness.
Sophisticated.
Guard the money.
I wouldn't say that it's sophisticated, but
Morty. It's sophisticated.
okay.
I don't think he knows what that word means.
He's like slurring his words.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole time you've still been chewing away on that stuff?
Yeah, I'd say I'd have up to 5 pieces by now.
Okay. Roll Constitution.
14.
14. You start to feel, but you're holding on, a intense burning sensation in your abdomen.
I keep fidgeting with my throat and rubbing my belly 2 hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna
Wait.
sit by the motor trike and probably try to pass out too.
okay. Skag, what are you gonna do?
Am I aware that we're all gonna rest?
Yeah,
Like,
because
I heard it too.
essentially he was just talking to you two because Rev was too far away.
All right, I'm gonna look at Otis, and well, first I'm gonna look at Mortimer and say, I'm gonna go in, and then I'm gonna look at Otis and say, sleep good, try not to burn anything, and then I'm gonna walk inside.
Okay. So yeah, with that, Skag, Mortimer kind of opens up the door for you, and he just goes, you can take one of the rooms upstairs to the left. Okay, he kind of looks at you and he just goes, get some rest. You'll be all right. And he kind of then with that, this kind of Skag goes in. He kind of like looks to you, Otis. He just goes, do you want me to go out there and tell your friend, or do you want to do it for me?
You could do it.
And he kind of looks at you and he just goes, kind of like just tosses it,
Thank you, Mort.
gives you like kind of little tip, and he just goes, all right. A little bit of time, about a minute or so, he kind of slowly kind of saunters out to your way, Rev.
Before he can say anything to me, Rev says, what do you do when everything you try to protect dies in front of your face? Just says that to Mortimer without turning around.
Not even turning around.
Yeah.
You can hear Mortimer's footsteps, and he kind of stops. And he lets out a sigh. And he goes, do you have experience in that, sir?
More than one person ever should.
And he looks at he kind of like he's staring at you, even though you never turn around. You can actually almost feel the eyes onto him, though.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, well, it does happen to all of us, especially in a world like this. I wouldn't beat yourself up too much. You do what you can. I've seen what you have done. You seem to care very much for these children. But you can't be everywhere at all times. A man can only do so much.
And Rev says, but I should be more than a man. I've modified myself. I've upgraded myself. I should be able to protect the people I need to protect.
He goes, Indeed, sir, that you have. You have increased your abilities, but you still have the heart and the brain of a man. And in the end, as I said, you can only do so much. There is only one of you. You just continue to keep doing your best. No one could have asked any more of that. I've
Rev
learned
just-
that.
Rev says, apparently my best is never good enough.
With that, you kind of feel a hand on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes, you saved all these children. I'm to assume they would feel differently about what you just said. And you kind of feel it slide off of him, and he turns and walks away.
Rev slowly kind of looks behind, and he understands the logic behind what Mortimer's saying, but he just can't seem to help to feel like he's a failure. But his talk does kind of bring him down off the cliff a little bit. So he does finally go back in and have some stew, and then tries to find like a solitary corner where he can, kind of rest and sleep. And
Sure. Yeah, as you start to make kind of your way back, trying to, doing your best to kind of come to terms with everything. You do see that Skag's no longer on the porch. Mortimer's going inside, and Otis is now laid out on one of the trikes, and he's just merely rubbing his stomach and doing a lot of this.
Rev does say, Otis, you all right over there?
I ate too much jerky, but I'm gonna fall asleep. Watch over the minerals.
All right. He
Keep
just
them
says,
safe.
You do that. Just
Good,
walks
good.
inside.
Okay, and then with that, you guys, even because it is obviously Hedron's day, and this is 2 months of daylight, you are able to find some kind of rest, and with that, I'm giving you guys a 100% full rest. You're gonna take that full 8 hours, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So with that, you can obviously 100% regain all your hit points. All your vitality and all your exhaust. And if there are any skills that you wanted to change out, you can go ahead and do that really quick.
I would like to do that. Do I need to tell you what skill I want to change out?
No, just tell me that you have done that.
Okay, I'm changing out. I've walked too many moons to splitting image. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Anything for you,
Alright.
Otis?
Yes, I am going to be switching. Where is it? I'm taking out Now You See Me, and I'm putting in Survivalist's Best Friend.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And anything for you, Skag?
No.
You just gonna take the full everything? Gotcha. Okay. As kind of sleep takes you all, you drift off. You don't dream of anything. None of you. You're just too worn out and too strained from the journey itself. As you kind of awake to the sounds of children kind of like laughing and giggling, Skag, especially because you're inside, as well as Rev.
Yep.
You kind of open up your eyes and start to come to, kind of pulling yourself together. You can smell something cooking as well. Skag, this actually smells quite delightful.
Ooh, so Otis isn't cooking.
Otis.
That's gonna actually that's the thing I first say in the morning. I'm gonna say, Otis isn't cooking.
There you go. Rev, you actually smell something that's, even for you, is quite delightful as well. Especially from what the last thing you smelled prior. Otis,
Yes.
roll Constitution.
16.
Okay. Last night was just right before you passed out. It was like missiles were going off in your stomach.
Nice.
It was all the rubbing and the scratching that you did only seemed to agitate you and make it worse.
Okay.
You were able, though, to stop yourself from throwing up.
Cool.
And you wake up actually feeling quite okay, quite refreshed.
Nice.
Your sinuses have been cleared out. You've never been clear.
Yep.
There is absolutely nothing wrong. Yep, absolutely nothing wrong with you at all. Feeling
Do
pretty
some
solid.
stretching. Yep. Feeling pretty solid. I'm stretching it. I'm gonna walk inside and grab myself a plate and eat whatever is served.
Okay. You all kind of come out to see some of the kids are starting to eat, and you see roll a d20 Skag and Otis, and roll it on. Let me make sure here. Give me 1 second. Roll on intellect.
Oh, I got a 13.
13.
14.
Okay. This is you both notice that this is 100% bacon and eggs.
I'm eating some bacon and eggs.
Yeah, Rev takes a look at it and it's foreign to him. He's just like,
Never had bacon and
I've
eggs,
never
huh?
seen that before.
I've never seen it, but it smells amazing.
It smells great. It smells great.
Do you want some?
Rev is he's feeling better than the night before. She was like, okay, I got to try something that smells this good.
Here's one thing.
He does say you didn't cook this though, right?
That's what I say.
No, I didn't cook this. Rolo cooked this probably.
Okay, then I immediately
Yeah,
dig
Rolo kind of like turns on his complete like waist axis, kind of turns 180 and turns around to you, just goes, I'm the one who cooked it. And he kind of like spins back and you see him
Nice.
kind of continue to kind of go after it. You are, you both are a little bit hesitant about the bacon though, because you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if this is old Otis sliding this in here.
We think the bacon is
His
maybe
bacon is just like his,
leftover jerky or
his
something?
like his better version of jerky.
I'm still gonna eat it.
Yeah.
It actually it tastes
smell
great.
Doesn't taste
Analyze
like
it.
Otis cooking.
No.
Analyze it with my olfactory upgrades
Mhm.
and don't detect any burning.
No,
So
this actually tastes quite well.
okay, good.
I'm just manging.
You're just going in on it, huh?
Yeah.
As you're kind of like sitting there, you kind of you kind of take a plate, and you're getting your fill of this very enjoyable meal. Mortimer kind of goes up to the three of you and pulls you guys to the side, and he just goes,
Yeah.
"Mind if I talk to you gentlemen outside?"
Yeah. Let's go, boys.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring my plate of food.
Of
with
course,
me.
yeah. You probably even grab like a second helping. There's like so much food.
Yeah. And Rev likes the bacon so much that he like grabs a couple pieces and just has them in his hand and he's chomping it as he talks
Eating
to
it
us.
like licorice.
This is some good jerky.
Otis
Otis didn't cook
hears this.
I try not to pay attention, but you could see me scowling.
Rev
I'm
goes,
insulted.
you know, Otis, you should maybe take some cooking lessons from Rolo over there.
It's a robot, though.
You hear Rolo. He should.
You can't even eat it.
But I do have sensory programs that tell me that whatever you created is bad.
Just shake my head in disbelief.
A
and stare at
pathetic attempt.
I can't even.
I'm gonna turn towards Otis and go, "That's an understatement."
As you guys kind of like go outside, sitting out on that kind of that landing and that stoop, Mortimer decides to take the rocking chair this time and sit down. And he kind of looks at you gentlemen and he just goes, "Now tell me, what are you boys going to do now? I know that you still have another part of this plan of yours.
Yeah, and Rev kind of takes initiative and said, "Yeah, we part of our agreement with Mother was to go to San Dormo and take out Father, who's the one behind all these creations."
I think we should sell the minerals first in the city on the way. Make
I think we
make
need
that
this.
money. Don't track it around anymore.
Well, yeah,
Get
we
it
can
off our
also-
hands.
We can also gear up because I don't think this is going to be an
Yeah.
easy job.
We could buy information.
Or
Mortimer actually
we
kind of
could do
like
it
looks
God,
at look,
Otis.
yeah. Mortimer looks at him and he just goes,
I love the second I mentioned buying anything. Otis is like, well, let's not go too hasty right now.
Mortimer looks at it. He just goes, he's probably gonna sell that jerky.
It's good jerky, right? Did you have a piece yet?
He just goes, it was hard to sleep last night hearing you mumbling and groaning out there.
I feel great.
And he kind of looks at you and he just goes, listen, now, I can watch over Mother for now, till she gets back on her feet, as well as our agreement that they could stay here. I can protect them for only a little time. As you know, it's just only me, and I can only do so much. But if I'm being honest, do you really have to go and do this other half? After all that has happened, you're putting yourself in danger again.
I kind of promised Mother. Very. I like to live up to my word.
He initially he looks at you, and he comes like that, and he just goes, forgive me, but you don't seem the kind of honorable kind.
And he doesn't know many words.
He takes a
As I'm looking at you, I'm just shoving bacon in my mouth.
I look back to Mortimer. I got a job to do. Mother and me've got an understanding.
He looks at you and he just goes, okay. What about you, sir? And he looks at Rev.
Rev says, all I know is that until we take care of Father, know where these kids go, know where the Mother goes is safe. He's got connections. He can find them. Even out here off the beaten path, I don't think they're safe until we take care of the job we were set to do.
He kind of leans forward, kind of taking everything in. He just goes, you understand that you're trying to get into San Dormo. Nobody just walks into San Dormo. Not unless you're one of them. And they don't even like their own kind. You have to know somebody to be even part of it. You have to know somebody to get in. And if you're going
I might
in
be
to
able
try
to get us in.
you can get them in. And how are
My
you
name,
supposed to do that?
my name holds weight.
He just kind of steps back. He just goes, wow, if that is the case, may I ask what your name is?
Otis Dirtbanger.
He kind of takes a pause and he just goes,
Son of Garth.
never even heard of it.
You might know him under his other name, Otis Meatburner.
He did say
shoving bacon, just looking at you. I'm so upset by this jerky, dude.
Rev goes, what about Garth Dirtbanger?
He goes, Garth Dirtbanger. I heard
North Black Downs.
I heard he's dead.
He's dead.
As
He's
long
dead.
as well as his family. No one left.
But me.
Death of a family. How do I even know that is you? Word is that you are dead. If you are to say you are that person.
If you go anywhere north, people could pick me out. unlikable.
He looks at he just actually kind of gives a chuckle, and just goes, "I believe that if you are who you say you are, if you go anywhere north, you're dead."
Sandormo's to the east, right?
Northeast.
But
Northeast.
you just said that if I go anywhere north, then
Yeah.
that's what you told them.
Mm-hmm.
That they would know who you were.
But maybe it could help my life.
As far as I've heard,
We could get close to father with my name. I think they would want
you
they
can
have some
get
interest
close
in me.
to father. And but forgive me, who is this father? Do you have a name other than just father?
That's a good question. I mean, mother told us, so I guess we could go talk to mother.
He looks
Mother has to know the
he
name.
looks at Skag and Rev. And he just goes, "Do you know who he's going on about?"
Yeah, I think she told us his name.
Eli
It's
Hauser.
Eli Hauser, yeah.
And with
I'm just
that,
making sure,
he
yeah.
initially just kind of like he's taken back, and he actually rolls back into his chair. He goes, "You are going to get close to Dr. Eli Hauser. I don't
Why not?
think that's going to be the case, sir. Nobody gets close to him. No one's even seen him in quite many years. For all we know, he could have been dead as a ghost. But I hear there are rumblings.
He's running shit there, right?
Running where? He runs stuff where?
Sandormo.
Sandomo is run by a Marvis Falcone. He's the head of the Broken. Dr. Eli Hauser is his top scientist, his research engineer.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Otis, son of Garth Dirtbanger, but if you don't even know that, your name isn't going to get you anywhere.
I'll have to rethink this.
Everybody knows this.
What was his name?
Oh,
Eli Hauser.
Eli Hauser.
Dr. Eli
No,
Hauser?
the other guy. The other guy you said.
Marvis Falcorn. And with that, he kind of like he's just sitting there like listening to you guys, and he just goes, "Now listen, I would highly advise that you stay far away from San Domo. But if you must do what you have to do, I might be able to help you, unless you choose to go through the front door with your friend here."
Rev goes, as much as I respect Otis's name, if you have a back door, I like to work from the shadows. What kind of options do we have?
He kind of looks at you, and kind of looks at Otis, waiting for some kind of response.
Sit there, my arms crossed.
Looks at Skag,
I'm taking it in. I want to hear what he has to say.
and he goes, "How do you feel, sir?"
I'm with the smart one. And I point at Rev.
I'm glad you clarified.
Well done.
It wasn't obvious until I pointed that out, you know? So.
He tells you that he starts to go into telling you that he can get you connected with somebody who was an ex-smuggler, who could get you in through one of the smuggling tunnels that have been long since been used, if you choose to look into that as an option. He tells you that this gentleman goes by a name of Remo Hargrove. And that he is what you would actually call a black market dealer. He starts as well to tell you that Remo is somebody that has a great dislike for the Broken and for San Dormo as a whole. So him having no issues of smuggling someone in there to eliminate a high-end official is something that he would not turn a blind eye towards. The problem is that his going price is quite high.
Rev says that Rev would be completely willing to, after spending a small portion of his to gear up for this, he would use all of his earnings, which is this stuff that I think would go well on the black market. What is it called?
The Phyllium
Calarium.
and
The Phyllium
and the Cerulean.
Cerulean.
Mm-hmm.
He would sell a small portion of it to gear up because he has some plans, is what he wants to gear up with.
Mm-hmm.
But he would use the rest of his earnings as the kind of the payment to this guy.
Okay.
Does he think? Rev asked, "Do you think that would be enough, Mortimer, to get this Rima Hargrave to work with us?"
He goes, I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure. He does deal in high-end, how shall I say this, ballistic reagents. He's more into the idea of trade for information. Checks are something that he's got more than enough of.
Let's give him Modus.
He don't like me.
I love you. From a distance.
No. Oh. I'm gonna say nothing else.
Okay. And he looks at all of you and he just goes, would you like me to try at least get in touch with him?
Yeah, contact him, see what his asking price is, let him know what I'm willing to give, and if that's not enough, we can work something else out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. And after that, good sirs, what are you hoping to do? Are you going back into Cambaron? Try to sell your wares there?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. We go to Cambaron, we gear up.
If we go to Cambaron, I think I should stay out of there. I think people are looking for me.
Where can we go where people aren't looking for you?
Well, I mean, you guys could go sell the stuff and take care of stuff and run a few errands for me. But I'll hang out outside the town and wait for you.
Not alone. Someone's got to watch over you.
No, you guys got a lot to do.
I'm just going to stare at him very shiftily.
Mortimer kind of takes a look and just goes, you're not even welcome in Cambaron? That is the only one true neutral outpost in the whole Western Wastes. How could you not? Your name must be really bad if you can't walk into Cambaron.
Wait, I want to look at Mortimer and go, it's not his name. It's his alcohol addiction and the bars, and we don't want to get into it.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know how to. You're asking a lot for your friends to take care of all this stuff for you. And
they're good guys.
I always tell people who are going into Cambaron that no better place to go to hang out at the 3J's bathhouse.
I've been there.
We know from experience.
He looks at you and just goes, wait a minute. Y'all been see Jen, and Jenny? The JEN, JENN, and JENNY?
Yes.
Well, why would you turn another option to go experience that one more time?
Well, a few days ago, someone tried to kill me from there. So I have no desire to go there.
Okay? Let me get this together. And he kind of looks at all of you at this point, and he's kind of like scanning across. He just goes, "You're hanging with this friend here, who says that his name carries weight, and it doesn't seem to carry much weight, and he's getting killed, or attempted to be killed, in the 3J's bathhouse. Who gets killed in the 3J's bathhouse?
Well, no, not there. But the guy was from Camp Barron that was trying to kill me, so other people might recognize me.
So well, you were in Camp Barron, and he tried to kill you in Camp Barron.
No, we left Camp Barron.
Then what seems to be the problem? Camp Barron is a neutral
He might
city.
know somebody there.
And he looks at Reverend Skag. He just goes, "This gentleman that tried to kill him, where is he now?"
We killed him.
I don't see a problem anymore. And he looks at Rev. He just goes, "Do you, sir?"
Otis is what you call a little paranoid, a little schizophrenic. He's got a few issues, you know. when your entire family's been destroyed, we know this now, right? He told us, right?
Well, based on the conversation with Mortimer, at least he does say that. He just goes, "I heard that he did hear that whole family was killed off."
I
There
did
was
say
left.
that little line. Yeah.
Okay.
He said that
It's like-
he did say that he was the only person left.
Yeah. It says, I feel like it's understandable to have a few issues if your entire family was destroyed.
And he goes, "And you, sir?" Looks at Skag. "How do you feel about your friend here?" Rolo comes out with more bacon.
Not good. No, I'm just gonna look at Otis and then look at that plate of bacon. And I'm gonna grab the bacon, shove as much in my mouth, and just go.
I spit at the ground. I just spit towards the ground.
And he goes,
I give you a
Shaking my
thumbs
head.
up, man. At least.
Shaking my head.
"Well,
All you
Mortimer."
hear are the words, "Oh, one thing is not a cook."
Either way, Mortimer kind of like takes us in and then kind of gets up, and he decides he's kind of gonna walk off. And he goes, "What I'll do is I'll do my best to try to get in contact with him, and have him get in contact with you folks, and you guys can decide what you want to do. Is that fair?"
That's more than fair, Mortimer.
Okay. As he does that, he kind of like talks to Rolo, and Rolo starts to go over and starts to remove his share of the cerulean that you agreed to, which was essentially just 2 cases.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like takes it in the back, and he kind of looks at you, and he just goes, "I'm only taking my share as per agreement."
Rev trusts him. I don't know
Okay,
about these
yeah.
others, but Rev trusts him.
Okay. He walks off, and he comes back. Maybe as you guys are kind of like just sitting there, are you guys talking amongst each other, deciding what you
Yeah.
guys want to do as he walks away? Okay, so what are you guys doing?
I'm still eating that bacon.
Well, I guess
So
Rev
what do you guys think?
is the planner, right?
Let's go to Camp Barron. Well, why don't you guys go in Camp Barron? I'll sit outside. I'll post up. And we'll get on our way, and we'll do what we got to do to get to Sandormo.
Rev says, Otis, are you really that afraid to go into Camp Barron? We took out what's his face? What was the guy who hired us
Ridley.
initially?
Ridley.
It's like we took out Ridley. Who else is going to know who you are there?
I didn't know Ridley was after me until it was too late. I don't want it happening again. How did he get a contract in Camp Barron? Obviously, somebody has a connect there. It couldn't have just been him.
Okay.
He
Well,
makes good points.
yeah.
Thank you, big dummy.
Skag, if you don't trust Otis to be by himself, I can go into town and take care of stuff. I'm known there. I'm a well-known face. I can sell the things and get whatever provisions if that's what we need.
Sounds good to me. Did you hear that, small dummy? You're stuck with me.
Don't you have a lot of stuff to gather, though?
Oh.
You need the big man. You need the big man to cart the stuff around.
No, I got the trikes. I can manage it.
Damn.
I think it's good if you have somebody to watch your back.
I'm gonna
He eats
shove.
my jerky, and we got a deal.
I'm gonna shove. Wait, I'm gonna shove a bunch of bacon in my mouth and go. Hell no.
Can I sneakily throw a piece of jerky into his bacon?
Please, that would be
Sure.
fantastic.
Go ahead and let's see. Roll.
That sounds like a dexterity
Yeah,
check.
roll your dexterity.
You're dexterous, I guess. Or maybe thieving hands.
You'd
Thieving
be
hands.
20.
Yeah, here's what I'll give you either if you have thieving hands or dexterous, whichever ones you have. I'll let you roll at advantage.
Please, because I'm not focusing. I'm just shoving it in.
Yeah.
11.
Roll
11 and 2.
11 and 2.
Mhm.
Roll awareness skag at disadvantage. So take the lowest.
19.
And you roll it again.
Oh, lowest?
Yeah, and then you take the lowest.
18.
Okay, so you go to throw it. And he just kind of like, at the last second, smacks it away.
I just keep staring at you as I'm eating.
Yeah, he just smacks it away. It doesn't even affect him that you even tried anything. He just, it's
I don't
like a
even blink.
fly. It's just like,
I'm just.
I'm done with breakfast. So I'm
You're
going
done
to
with
the
breakfast?
Yeah, I'm done with
Did you just
breakfast.
sneak a
I'm
piece
gonna-
into your own mouth?
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
you're back, you hit it again already?
Back to his own turkey.
I'm gonna go to the trike and kind of make sure it's all set for them bringing it into town.
Okay, there is a lot of stuff that belongs to obviously mother and her children. Are you going to try to like, obviously, to
I
remove
wanna
some of that
unhitch
stuff?
that,
And
yeah.
just sure. Okay, so it's going to take you about an hour or so. There was a lot of stuff that's on there to lighten it up, get your stuff on there, get it
Good to be by
fastened
myself
down.
for an hour.
Yeah,
Think about stuff.
Skag
do it,
and Otis, you
Skag.
just, I'm sorry, Skag and Rev, you just kind of like see Otis just kind of go off and kind of do his own thing for a bit. He gives you a quick look to say, "Don't bother me doing this. I got this. You do something else."
Okay.
As that happens, especially for Rev, you do see Sarai has come down, and she's standing out front. She opens up the door and takes a look at you. Walks kind of up to you, and she just goes, "Will you be leaving soon?"
And Rev says, Sarai, we have to finish the job that Mother asked us to do.
And she looks up at you, and she just goes, "Please don't go."
Well, Sarai, you won't be safe until we stop Father from sending these creatures to hunt you. I don't think those ghosts or whatever you want to call them are going to be the only things he sends after you.
She kind of like goes in, and she just like hugs your leg. You get the feeling that she doesn't want to let go, but she does. And she looks up at you, and she just goes, "Promise you'll come back."
And Rev just says, I promise I will do whatever it takes to keep you safe.
She looks at Skag, and she just goes, "Promise you'll keep him safe."
I promise. I mean, I put my hand on his shoulder and smile weirdly.
Awkwardly.
The awkward smile. She kind of looks at you, and she just goes,
Like, I don't know how to smile, but I tried.
"Yeah, you're."
I'm just like,
It's like the fake like family photo smile. You're like,
we weren't just screaming at each other 20 minutes ago.
yeah. Click. With that, Sarai kind of like, she kind of turns and she kind of goes back in, and then you can hear that she kind of runs back up to the stairs. As about an hour or so kind of passes, Mortimer comes back around from the corner, and he walks up to specifically Rev and Skag, walks right past Otis, as he sees that Otis is preoccupied by whatever he is essentially doing. And he just goes, "Well, I got in contact with him. He says that he's willing to meet you in Cambaran if you're up to it. But he'll contact you there to arrange a meeting. There's a lot going on. A lot of noise coming down from the south. And he might be involved in a bit of it as well. So he's kind of like on his guard.
From the south, I thought you said he operated out of San Dormo.
I never said he operated at San Dormo. I said he was a neutral party who has no love for San Dormo.
Well, if you think he can get us into San Dormo, we'll meet him in Cambaran.
He says, fair enough. I told him that he can contact you when you guys get there. He'll contact Rev directly. And he looks at Skag, he just goes, of course, no offense. He looks at you and just goes, fair enough.
Rev asks, do I need to go to a specific place to meet him, or?
He will contact you once you get there.
Okay.
And with that, he kind of pulls you guys in close and just goes, I would watch your friend. There seems to be more to him than he's letting on. And if he is who he says he is, then a lot of danger could be coming towards him. You gotta keep him safe. He seems like he has a good heart.
This is the first time anybody's ever said that about Otis.
Morty.
And he just goes, he looks at you. Did you say Morty?
Yeah.
You're just like in your head? In your head, you're just
like no, like Will Ferrell goes, "You're my boy Blue."
Oh, yeah.
Morty.
Yeah. You just,
Boy Blue.
he goes, I feel that there's more than to him that he's letting on either way. And if that is the case, he should be in a seat of power.
If I'd want that.
Yeah, that sounds a little scary, actually.
Well,
I'd rather fight another alpha.
like I said, if he is who he says he is, then the place once known as North Black Downs belongs to him and his family. And if he is the last, then he is the rightful lord of North Black Downs. That's if he is who he says he is. So, if you want to protect him because you trust him, then you should. But he could be something more. I'm only just saying. And make sure he keeps that beef jerky away from people.
What is wrong with it? It's delicious.
You're not
You're not part of this conversation.
Oh, I thought I was. I was.
You're off unloading the cart or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you
My
yeah.
bad.
You heard all the stuff before, but he pulls them in and kind of like he's whispering
Oh, yeah, that's
to him.
right. Yeah.
And he goes, I will say nothing more. Other than that, I will make sure that these kids are protected for as long as I can. And I'll make sure Mother gets back on her feet. That is my promise to you, gentlemen.
That is more than we could ask, Mortimer. And I think Skag has been keeping an eye on Otis anyway.
He goes, fair enough. I'll make sure that Rolo make sure that you're fully powered up on your transports. It will still be a long ride for you to get back into Cambaran.
It will be faster without the train of children.
I completely understand. And with that, he kind of reaches out to each one of you, kind of shakes your hand and your hand. And he goes, if you ever find your way back here, make sure to stop by. There will always be, and he looks at Skag, there will always be bacon here for you.
I think I love you.
And he looks at you, he just goes, I think you love Rolo.
I look at Rolo and I go, no, I know I love Rolo.
And then he kind of just walks back in and kind of closes the door behind. With that, what do you guys want to do?
I think we start talking about our trip to Cambaran, planning planning where we want to set up outside and what kind of list of things we want to
Okay.
stock up on.
It is up for you guys to decide how you guys want to do it.
Okay. I think since me and Skag are gonna be hanging out outside of Camp Barron, that we have Rev go sell all the minerals, and I would personally like as many nets and smoke grenades you could bring back to me, and maybe even a scope for my my rifle.
Nets, smoke grenades, and a scope. Gotcha.
I don't have the money now, but
I'll pay you on Tuesday.
I'll pay you on Tuesday.
For a couple
That's-
nets today.
No, you make up for it from my cut of the haul.
Oh, I'll be keeping track of who I'm buying what for.
Oh. Rev
See, this is
118,
why I wanted
aka
Skag to go.
what you didn't know is
Merchant.
it's actually Rev 118 CPA.
All right, Skag, what do you need from town?
One first aid.
For the one that he used
That's
before.
it. That's it. Is that everything?
That's it. I don't know. I'm already stocked, man.
Oh, and grab me as many bottles of wasteland fuel as you could come across.
Wasteland fuel. What is wasteland fuel?
It's booze.
Oh,
Some of the best stuff.
okay.
Roll give me 1 second. Roll science or knowledge.
Me?
One of you, both Skag and Rev.
Oh, Otis and Rev, or
Science.
No,
and
no, no. Science or knowledge, whichever one you want.
okay. I'm gonna roll knowledge. I got 15.
I got a 9.
Okay. You know Wasteland Fuel, Skag. You've actually never heard of it, really. Rev, you know it as just like raw, refined. It's booze, but it's a little
It's
more
like-
than
like-
that.
Yeah.
Moonshine.
It's
somebody made
it's
it
the
at their
equivalent
backyard.
of highly combustible and flammable
So
moonshine.
I don't realize that it's booze at all.
No, you just know it as booze. Yeah.
I just know it as okay.
Yeah. Like
Then-
you've
then
heard
when
it, but
he-
you've actually never had any of it. You've heard it
When-
amongst people.
When he says that, though, to Otis, I want to say, I don't think you should be drinking. But very quickly, I'm going to lean over to Rev and whisper, grab me like 2 of those bottles, though.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. And I actually have a question because
Sure.
I wanted to see. I am not a ballistics expert, but there have been so many situations lately that I felt,
Skag is more of that.
yeah. I
Well, I
wrote
was
down
pushing.
something that I wanted to buy.
Sure.
I want to buy some Helicon Magni charges, which are charges that stick to metal and cause concussive damage.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I would be able to use them. If I bought them, would I have to be like Skag? These are for you, kind of thing.
Skag would probably have to tell you how to use them.
Okay.
And in case if anything, or Otis, you could always ask Otis.
I would ask Skag.
Yeah.
Explosive.
Um,
And
Uh-oh,
Otis,
that
I would
is-
say stay
There's 2
away
differences.
from these.
Otis will show you how to use them. Skag will show you how to use them properly. So there's a difference there.
and if you ever learn like the blueprints to try to make them on your own and get the reagents, Skag would probably be able to make you some of them. Obviously, you're never going to make them in bulk. You're just not a bulk guy, but he can make you
Okay.
1 or 2
But I could,
once he
like-
actually sees
Well,
them.
I would want to. Yeah, I want to buy some, and then maybe he could see how to make them.
If
or
he's
something
willing,
kind of
if
thing.
he's willing to let him break down one to kind of figure out exactly how it is, then he could probably give you an idea of if you could make these in the future.
Okay. Yeah, and there are a couple other things I want to buy. Things like Data Jack 1000, Jacker, mini surveillance cameras, a bunch of just things that I think that will be useful.
In it,
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is, for the second time, I'll just say that you guys kind of get on your transports. Mortimer kind of sees you off as he kind of lets down the perimeter, so guys can venture through. and it probably takes you, about 1 or 2 clicks to kind of get back. The hover trike with the motor tracks is because you're still carrying that big sled full of that resources. You're making sure that you're getting there in one piece and not just going over high terrain and rough terrain, just kind of knocking stuff around. You're able to go and get back to where you can actually seek the outer walls of Cambaron again. As you kind of do so, you don't seem to run into any problems. Probably the first time that's actually happened for you guys in the past day or two, maybe actually 3 days, that you actually have run into nothing. As you kind of pull up to the outside walls of Cambaron itself, again, these very high, almost like 15 to 20 feet high walls with the guard towers. You do see that, again, the line outside the front of the great entrance to Cambaron itself, where they're all, the guards are kind of checking inventory, as well as to see if you have the ID scans in order to get in to Cambaron itself. With that, Rev, you kind of see that the line is probably almost 20 deep as you kind of come up to the walls and the gates itself, and you see about 3 or 4 groups of guys going up to each one of them in order to obviously hasten the process.
Yeah, check IDs and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, before we go up to him, I turn and say, okay, Skag, Otis, if you guys want to post up out here, maybe find an out-of-the-way place, I'll go into town and try to stock up. I'll take the hover trike because I've got to try to sell all this stuff, right?
You're gonna take the motor tracks. The motor tracks is the one that's got it's actually got the sled hooked up to it.
It's like the hauler, right?
Right, it's the hauler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'll do.
That's the plan. Good.
I'm just gonna put my
Come on,
arm
Skag.
around
Let's
Otis
go over into these.
and give you a thumbs up, and once again awkwardly try to smile, as in saying, "We got this."
I want to go and walk towards like a bush or something and hide in it or hide behind it or something.
Okay. And Rev's gonna say, "Remember, we got these sidekicks. If something happens, you can contact me."
Okay. So as you see, you would be just outside for you guys. I'm guessing as you're coming up to it that there's the great bridge that goes into the Isle of Cambaron that leads into Cambaron itself. That are you staying out beyond the bridge itself?
How far is that? Would you say from the entrance?
Yeah, it's maybe like 200 to 300 yards away.
Okay. Yeah. I want to be on the outside of that bridge.
Okay. So there's definitely some forests and stuff there that you can kind of like sit and hide out in.
I want to be able to see in the distance, obviously, like
yeah. You can
the front
post.
of the,
you can post up
yeah.
where you can see obviously the bridge itself, and you can see the Isle. That's probably maybe like 100 or so yards to get across the water to get to the island itself. As you see, Rev's character carry himself over on the motor tracks, going over to the bridge and getting up into the line itself. Without any kind of hitch, Rev, they scan your sidekick ID, no issues. One of the guys looks up and just goes, "What are you here for?"
I'm going to offload some goods and stock up for my next mission.
And he kind of looks at
my next job. Yeah.
And he kind of like looks at it like he has a data jack, and he's kind of looking at the information. He just goes, "I see that you were here about 2.5 days ago."
Yeah, we had a job up north at a mine. Went a little bumpy, but we got paid for it.
And then he kind of like looks back, kind of sees your sled in the hall. He just goes, "Is that what I think it is?"
It was a good job.
And he kind of looks at it, kind of puts his hand on it, doesn't open it up, just merely kind of like takes it. And they're like in these really heavy kind of sealed metallic containers, but it's a bit transparent, like it's almost like polycarbonate on the side. And kind of looks at it, and he just goes, "That looks like it was a real good haul." And he just goes, "All right, come on in." He goes, "Good luck."
Sure, I'm glad he didn't try to
That's
you
a
know,
backwards
make
statement.
me grease his palm or something. So,
Okay.
well, actually, Rev would like to say um, there might be a little in it for you if you can tell me a good place I can offload and sell some of this. Anybody been looking for some? I wrote the words down and I can't remember them.
Thallium and cerulean.
Yeah,
Right.
thallium and ceruleum,
Phyllium and Silurium. Yeah.
pylium and ceruleum. Yeah.
And he just goes. He goes. He goes. Pardon me here. How many times have you been here in Canberra?
3 or 4 times now.
Is this the first time you ever had this kind of haul?
This is the first time I've been paid in minerals before.
Oh, he goes. Understand. I got it. Everyone knows that if you want to get these off your hands, you take them down to Caslin Currencies.
Caslin Currencies.
Only place here in the West that takes care of this kind of stuff, unless you do it, of course, underground.
Oh, I would never, officer.
And he kind of looks at you and he just goes. He goes, you understand, we're not like officers of the law. We protect Canberran. He goes, you do what you need to do. We have all types here. This is just a neutral outpost, protected and guarded by us here. Because, but either way, Caslin Currencies is the place if you want to try to get a good deal on these. But it's whatever the going rate is.
I completely understand.
But with that, he kind of takes a look at your haul again. He just goes, I think you should do quite well. If I do say so. It's the far end of the compound and the outpost itself. Just can't miss it. Nice, bright, shiny neon light says Caslin Currencies. Owned by the only Saldarian here in Canberra.
Okay, that is good information. I flip him a small piece of whichever the one that's not the drug one, the other one. Is it the ceruleum? That's the other one.
Roll science.
Okay, if I know which one I'm giving him. I rolled a 17.
Yeah, you know exactly which one the cerulean is, and you kind of like toss it to him. He kind of grabs and takes a look at it, and he just goes, I can take this to the gambling tables tonight. Appreciate it.
You have a good time, sir.
Enjoy. Have a good one.
All right, so I beeline it. I want to go straight to Caslin Currencies.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have this much currency or this much stuff lying around.
As the great gates kind of open up again to Canberra, you can see that Canberra is really bustling today. A lot of transports and a lot of freighters are in here.
Sounds like good news.
A lot of coaches that are bringing in new people. You can obviously, as you're kind of going through town itself, that last chance bar that you were in where you initially met Ridley is just really, you can hear bustling, you can hear just people, a lot of action. You
Music coming out.
The music, you can hear the rolling of dice and the sounds of checks and stuff being tossed around.
I just think I'm glad Otis isn't here.
Yeah. You drive past, obviously, the Cambers Inn, which is the main inn in Homestead there as well. And as you kind of go down to the very end, as you do start to notice that Canberra is quite larger than you initially thought it was. You hadn't gone this far west because you've never had this kind of haul to even get down there.
Sure.
That this is extremely heavily fortified, and you can see that the large walls are just filled with guards, as well as guards are going up and down the streets, maintaining as much order as possible. But you see a lot of Soldarans there, as well as other cyborgs and some cyber jackals, and humans just mingling as best as they kind of can. This is really like the only true neutral place where everybody can kind of get together.
We'll see all these different races actually interacting.
Exactly. As you kind of see this brightly neon fluorescent purple and gold light that says Caslin Currencies. You see a nice little line of people going in and out of this place. It's actually pretty, for the rest of Canberra itself, it's pretty a decadent looking place. It's almost like temple-ish. It's really well put together. You can really get the sense that a lot of checks go in and out of this and have been put into this. As you kind of like, you can't necessarily carry both these halls in together.
Sure.
Are you just going in kind of like one at a time, or are you just kind of like merely stating that you need some kind of register to come out there and take a look?
Yeah, I don't want to go too far from this. With how bustling and busy it is, I don't want to leave this hall unattended. So what I'd like to do is see if I can spot any like attendant or maybe worker who would be outside the building so I can flag down.
They're known as registers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to flag down a register.
Sure. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 of them. You automatically kind of see them going up to other groups, kind of like typing into their data pads, negotiating with them as well themselves. You notice that these guys are humans, even though that the guard outside said that the main guy, who is Caslin, is Saldarin himself.
Yeah.
A register kind of looks over you, sees that you're pulling up, and you kind of like flag him down. He kind of walks over to you. He's a young gentleman, probably about 21, 22. Kind of like really cropped, nice black hair. And he's got these really kind of like deep green eyes as he kind of walks up to you. He's dressed in quite nice attire. It's almost like a black suit.
Okay.
Everybody still has the black, Helicon combat boots. But he walks up to you, and he's got like a bow tie, and it's little tag that says register on it, and he just goes, "Oh, how can I help you today, sir?"
And how many cases do we have? Did we each get one? I forget the exact payment. Do you guys remember? Was it we each got one, or did we just get one of each?
We got one of each.
For
one
all
crate
of us.
each. Yeah.
So you would have 3 cases of the Phyllium and 3 cases of the Cerulean.
Okay. And so I say to the registrar, I and my compatriots were paid in a very interesting manner. I usually deal in, is it credits?
Capital checks?
Yeah, we usually paid in checks. This is the first time we've been paid in minerals. I need an assessment of the value, and if you can tell me if you guys will buy this, if you can exchange it, what is the rate of Phyllium and cerulean here?
So he walks up to you, and he kind of takes a look. He goes, "I understand, sir." And he goes, "Could you open up the crates, please, so we can inspect it? We can inspect the cargo."
Sure. So I go to, I don't know if it's locked and I need to have a key or just kind of...
Yeah, it's data locked.
Okay. So I unlock one so he can look, and then I immediately seal it after he checks each one.
Okay. Yeah, he does take a look at it, kind of like he's starting to input things into his data file and data jack there. He kind of gets a quick look at it, and with that he just goes, "Hold on 1 second, sir," and he walks away, kind of comes back, and he's got like a miniature, like a small scale. He goes, "If you don't mind, could you put them on there so we can get the complete weight?"
Of course. And so I lift, I guess, the entire crate.
Yeah, you just kind of put it on there, one after each. He kind of, again, he inputs the information, and he looks at you, and he just goes, "Well, first things first." He just goes, "How much are you looking to get out of this? Do you have a quick moving amount, or we can put this, and it'll be kind of like on a time lock until we can see if we can get this sold?"
We need checks now. We are looking to suit up for our next job. So as quick as you can move. So we're all but one crate.
Okay, so you're looking to move this as quickly as possible.
That's right.
Okay, you will understand that there will come a fee for things like that.
I understand.
Okay, as long as you understand you're going to get less the amount than you would naturally get. I could tell you right now that the market for Phyllium is quite low.
Phyllium is low?
Phyllium is low. Mainly because the only person who wants the Phyllium is the broken. Okay.
Okay.
And right now, is maybe if you heard or not, the political climate with the Broken right now is not on good terms. So there is kind of almost a little bit of a freeze and lock on that.
Okay. Well, how's
Okay.
Cerulean? Is it any better?
Cerulean is quite high.
Okay.
Okay.
So what could we get for just the Cerulean?
For just a Cerulean right now, we're looking at, if you're trying to get it moved, probably 5,500 checks
Per crate?
per crate.
Okay.
Again, if you wanted to put it on a storage and have it sold in pieces instead of in bulk, for those who are coming through, we probably can get you a much higher price. But again, that is up to you.
Okay. And just so I know, what is the Phyllium rate?
Well, the Phyllium rate right now is, well, we're not even really trying to buy any. But because you're trying to move this, we can take some in, probably about 1,000, maybe 2,500 per. Usually,
1,000,
usually, if the political climate wasn't like this, that stuff probably goes up to the 6,000 per crate.
I understand. Can you give me a minute while I confer with my compatriots?
Of course, go right ahead. And with that,
All
he
right.
kind of just goes, "Just flag me down whenever you're ready." And you just see
Thank
him
you,
walk
sir.
off, and he starts to help some other people as well.
Okay. So I immediately get on my sidekick and do a group call. I Skype Skag and Otis.
You put
I say-
your 2422 Discord.
Yeah, that's right. All right, guys. I got an idea of money. You guys want to hear it?
Shoot.
All right. Phyllium looks like we'd only get 1,000 to 2,500 per crate, but Cerulean we get 5,500 checks per crate.
So we got to lug the Phyllium around?
Well, we have the option if we want to leave the Phyllium here, they can sell it over time and we can get a better rate. But if we want money now, that's the price because the Broken are the only ones buying.
Ooh. Bring the Phyllium back then.
Skag, you hear this as well. You're sitting right next to him as he's doing this.
What do you think,
Agreed.
Skag?
Oh,
You want me to bring
agreed.
the Phyllium back?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I sell all the Cerulean, that's 3 crates. We got, what is that? 1,500 plus 1,650, 16,500 checks. I think is my math right? I still think that's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, that's my jaw drops. I'm like, yeah, bring it, do it.
You do understand? I'm gonna buy some of your equipment with that money, though, right?
Absolutely. Skag's cut.
I'm just gonna hit him on the back of the head, not respond. Just hit him on the back of the head.
And I
I
just
still
say,
mean it. I still
don't
mean
worry, Skag. Don't worry. I'll keep
I
track of
wasn't.
everything.
it. Brad,
I wasn't.
What was that bumping sound?
Just ignore it. Just a fly.
All right. So Rev goes, all right, I'll sell the Cerulean, I'll bring the Phyllium back, and I'll get us all stocked up for all the stuff you guys wanted.
Okay.
All right, so I
All
flag
right.
down.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that. Oh, you flag him down again?
Yeah, I flag him down.
Okay, he comes back over. And he just goes, "Okay, have you come to a decision, sir?"
I have. I thank you for your candor about the values.
Absolutely.
We would like to sell all 3 crates of the Cerulean, but we'll hold on to the Phyllium until the market's better.
He looks at you and he just goes, "Fair enough. I do understand." He goes, "You do understand that we have to tag the Phyllium, though. We have to make sure that we document all those who are carrying Phyllium."
Okay. Will that cause any issues with us getting into other towns or me leaving Cambaran?
He goes, "Shouldn't have be a problem. We just need to know those who are actually selling Phyllium out here on the market."
Okay. I'm a well-known mercenary, so you can put that under my name.
He goes, "Fair enough, sir." And with that, he just kind of like scans them, kind of quickly documents them, and he just goes, "So Yeah, 16,500 checks. Is that what we agree on?
That is agreed.
Okay. I will allow you to negotiate if you'd like to.
You want me to try?
You can.
Uh,
I'm merely
Rev,
saying. Do you have
Rev,
negotiation?
no. I
Okay, you're
have
just gonna take it the way
no
it is.
persuasion. I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm like,
Fair enough.
meaning of negotiation. Rev's like, that's the price I'm paying it, or yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, with that, he merely he brings one of the other almost like porters, who kind of runs out. And they're probably kids that are like 17, 18. They're young boys, and they kind of like start taking off the crates. And he starts pointing. He goes, "We'll take this one, and this one. Leave those there." And they kind of put them on a kind of a like a hover skiff that kind of they kind of push it away. And he just goes, "Can you input your data information, and we'll have it completely transferred directly to your data check."
Absolutely.
So yeah, he just kind of puts out the thing. You kind of put your password information, and with that, he just goes, he just hits it, and then you hear ding on your thing, and you take a look at it, and it said, "This is deposited 16,500 capital checks."
You're one rich man.
I just nod.
And he looks at you, and he kind of like goes, "Is there anything else I could help you with, sir?"
You have been very helpful, sir.
And he goes, "I appreciate it." He kind of gives you a bow, extends his hand, and he goes, "If you ever need any help again," he goes, "My name is Reggie."
Reggie, before I leave, I do have one question for you. If I needed to obtain combat gear, first aid equipment, do you recommend any place that won't chip me?
He goes, "Of course. Just go to the northern end, the Trader's Row."
Trader's Row. Is there any specific trader you recommend?
That's where all the traders are. And he goes, "I'm to assume you can find anyone there. Forgive me, I'm a registrar. I work here at Catalan Currencies. I'm not much of an adventurer."
Okay, I understand. Thank you for your time, Reggie.
Because, but again, if you do, sir, have any other questions or any other needs, never hesitate to come back to Catalan Currencies. We'll make sure we take care of that for you.
You are a very high-end merchant, sir. Thank you.
And he goes, "I appreciate it." And he kind of walks away and starts to go off and help another group that had just come up with another haul.
Okay. And so I immediately get onto my sidekick and I go, "All right, Otis, Skag, we got 16,500 checks to play with. I'm going to go stock up."
Roger, Roger.
Remember, Skag's cut.
I understand, Otis. I'll transfer the exact amount to who needs it.
Remember, Otis, not only can I hear you through this, but I'm right behind you. And then I hit him again.
I just shake my head and hang up.
I guess you're just gonna go over to Trader's Row to kind of
Yeah,
start
I'll
to get your
immediately
stuff.
go over to Trader's Row and stock up on the things that were asked for each person.
Okay, as that happens, as you go off to do that, what is Skag and Otis doing?
I'm just watching over Otis at this point.
I'm done taking point. I'm like sitting back and kind of reclining and say, "Skag, I don't know much about you. Where are you from? Where do you come from? Because you annoy the shit out of me, and I need to know where you're from." And I look at, I'm going to glare at him until I get my answer.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just glaring at you.
Okay, a little stare down.
Staring contest. Great.
It's not where I wanted this to go.
Lean
but
in a
okay.
little closer at this point.
No. So, what's your deal, man?
What do you mean, what's my deal?
Where are you from?
That's my business. But if you want to know, I'm from Hava.
And I
You
just
gotta
nod.
ask.
I just look at him. I'm like, have a.
Have a nice day. I'm not answering your questions. And I just glare at him again.
I'm gonna walk out of the bush.
I was talking to a bush this whole time.
No, I mean I want to walk away.
He was like
from this
hidden
guy.
in the bush, and you're just like,
Yeah.
Like this bush is just talking to me.
he just
Someone's
pops
walking
out
by,
and just
I'm just
goes,
like-
yeah, he's popping out, just going, so what's your deal, man?
It's Metal Gear
Like off
Solid
the
where he's
ground.
got the box.
Come on,
I'm
let's
just
try
hanging out bored. It's been a while, so I figured make some small talk. He doesn't want to talk, so I'm gonna get up from my sitting position and just walk away.
Okay. You are noticing, because you're not too far off the road that is leading in and over the bridge. There are some other cyber coaches that are coming in, bringing people in. So you see the cyber steeds, the coach, essentially like the coach that you initially guys came in on when you first came to Cambaran. And as you do, you see one of the coaches coming in, led by a large trail of cyber steeds. And this coach is pretty heavily armored. And a gentleman is kind of looking out, and he kind of like catches your glance, as well as you're kind of like, you kind of come out and you're just standing on the corner out there. You're no longer in that forest, so you kind of come out for him to take a look at you.
Mm-hmm.
What you do see is a gentleman who's probably right around his late 30s, who seems to be, that you can get a sense, is dressed quite well, quite dapper. He's got one hand kind of like hanging out the window, with a synth cigarette, kind of flicking it out. He's in a very well-dressed white tailored suit that has like these high collars. He has these really cleaned up, slick back, salt and pepper like hair and a well-kept mustache. And he has a single eye patch covering his eye as he kind of looks at you. And as he takes a look at you and you kind of take a look at him, he takes a drag of the thing and he just kind of flicks it your way. And the steed continues to go through and forward.
I just nod, and I just throw a nod, and that's about, quick nod.
A message goes off, Rev, on your sidekick.
Oh, okay. I click it like a pre-recorded type message.
No, it's an incoming message.
Okay. All right, I answer it. Who is this?
He goes, you hear him, he just goes, I think you know who this is supposed to be.
This is supposed to be a secure channel. Who am I talking to?
I believe you got in contact with a friend of ours.
Ah, damn.
A friend? Who is your friend?
And you hear him just go, Mortimer.
I don't know any Mortimer. Who is this?
You hear him just go, fine, and it hangs up.
Oh, that was our contact, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought I was getting the father call.
I was gonna jump in, but I couldn't, so I didn't.
I go, can I star 69?
So, I was going to say star 60. No, star 67. Star 67.
Star
Star
67?
67.
Yeah, star 69 is to block it.
Okay. Okay. Instead, I open a channel back to a Skag and notice. I go, I think I may have just hung up on our contact.
What? You had one job.
I go,
You had one job on top of all those other things I told you to do.
Stuff. I had to get stuff. I just
Are you tired or something?
and so I go, Have you guys seen anybody outside that looks like they wanted to give me a call? Because I feel like I may have just screwed up.
No.
Gag, you haven't seen anybody?
I saw a cigarette.
All right, that's probably not.
I've been talking to a bush all day. What do you expect from me?
Is there any way we could like contact Mortimer and see if he could ask that guy to call back?
Do any of us have his line?
Anybody
I
got Mortimer's
don't.
number?
I don't.
So okay,
I
would
tried.
like,
He turned me down.
I would like to use my engineering skill to backtrack that call to call back the number that was either blocked or whatever. I would like to try to use the skill to recall him.
Go ahead and try to run engineering. I'll give you a shot at it.
Can I roll engineering?
Sure.
Okay. God. I rolled a 1, and then I have advantage, and I rolled a 17.
Okay.
God.
You are able to jack back in and to reroute some information. You're an engineer. It doesn't necessarily mean you're like a computer whiz or anything like that, but you figure that you might be on the right track here as you can kind of scroll through the data logs.
Maybe I can text him,
Yeah.
you know.
And you
Call me back.
you believe you are able to get a hold of the connection again. Do you want to try to see if that is the correct connection?
I want to open that connection and just say a single sentence.
Sure, go ahead. And what is that?
The sentence is, I may have been mistaken. Please call back.
With that, yeah, with that,
That's good. You got your point across.
with that, you don't hear anything for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm guessing you're just waiting to see if you kind of get anything.
I am. I've made my way to the trader's row, but I've
Sure.
kind of forgotten about that while I'm like, please call back, please call back, please call back.
And you do get a message, an incoming message. Would you like to open it? It is a text-based message.
This is a text-based message. I would immediately like to open it
And
and read it.
it merely says, from unknown, yes, you have.
Okay. So I guess that was the callback. Okay. I will. Hopefully, now that I've gotten a text message, I can text back. and I would like to say, have payment awaiting contact.
Oh, my bad. What you doing?
What you doing? Skag and Otis, you get a ding. You get a message.
I open mine.
Okay. Do you open yours up as well?
I open mine, yeah.
It's a message from Mortimer, and it just says, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Question mark, question mark, question mark.
I'm gonna type in question mark back to him.
I'm just going to say, our bad.
With that, he responds. He responds back that he just goes, "This is not the kind of person that you do this to. This is a one-time deal. This guy is well connected. He works with just about everybody. If you want to get information, I'm not even doing Mortimer. It doesn't matter because it's text-based." He goes, "If you really want to get information, this is the guy you get it from." And you hang up on him when he tries to contact you?
He's just texting me and Skag, or is he
Yeah,
hitting up
because
Rev too? Oh, he thinks it's us.
yeah.
I think
Okay.
you guys screwed it up.
I'm gonna type back. I have Oh, I'm texting. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's just that.
Skag, do you text anything back?
Yeah, I'm just gonna text back and say, "Call Rev?" Question mark. Smiley emoji.
Okay. And nothing after that. So are you gonna just start to sell your stuff?
Yeah, I would like to. Well, I want to buy the equipment while I hope for a call back from this guy. But I'm gonna start buying the net smoke grenade scope for Otis and the first aid kit and the booze for Skag, and then the stuff I want to buy for myself.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and
Do I need to give you a list and the money and all that stuff? Okay.
And let's see how much that's going to cost you here. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Let me get that. Okay, so what's the first thing you can get?
Okay. So for Otis, we're getting nets, smoke grenades, and a scope. So.
Oh, nets, smoke grenades, and a scope. For the nets, let's just run that. How many are you trying to get? He's got 5. He has 5.
Yeah.
Yes, 5 is his max.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just buy 5 of those.
Okay, so that's just going to be 5 checks per, so 25.
Okay, so 25. Okay, and then smoke grenades. How many can he hold of those?
How many smoke grenades can you hold 3 of anything?
Yeah, it says 3 per day, so I assume that's like my max is 3.
Yeah. Okay, so usually those run you around 10 a piece.
Okay, so that's 30.
Yep.
Minus 30. Okay, and then a scope. How much would a scope? The best scope that they've got. I want to get him I want him to stop missing. So
5.
Thanks,
like
Rev.
that.
Yeah, 5 checks. 5 checks to get you one.
That's it. Okay.
He just has some kind of run of the mill one.
Okay, and then wasteland fuel. I need to get him some wasteland fuel.
He immediately looks at you and just goes, "Are you serious?"
I said, "You don't know the guys I'm buying this for. I'm serious."
And he just goes, "Okay, I can get you that stuff, but you can't buy it here with me."
All right.
Like,
Not even sold at taverns, it says.
I can well, there's a guy coming in today who can get you with that. He goes, so it really kind of depends on how much you're really working in. Now, he works in the gallons, so.
All right. Give me 20 gallons of wasteland fuel.
And he goes, let me see if I can get that taken care of. And he starts to get on his sidekick and starts to make some kind of contact. He just goes, it'll take some time. I think he's just coming into town.
Okay. All right. You let me know. I got some other shopping to do. I'll come right back as soon as you.
He goes,
yes,
no problem. I'll get a hold of it. He goes, wait.
Okay.
He goes, did you need any kind of like medical kits?
Oh, is this the same guy? Same guy that deals in med kits also dealing with it.
Yeah.
All right. I need 1 first aid.
You need 1 first aid kit. And he just goes, are you sure? Just 1? He goes, we could work out a deal because usually field kits run around 15. If you get 2, then I'll make you a deal. It'll be $13, 13 checks.
Okay. Ooh. Give me 2.
Okay. If you decide to go 3, then we can make it 12 checks.
Stop dealing with terrorists.
2 is more than enough.
Okay. With that, he kind of like pulls out 2 field kits, kind of hands them over to you.
That's 12 for both of them, or?
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's 13 because you didn't take the extra discount.
Oh, okay, sorry. 13. So if I split that in half, each of okay, because I'm taking 1 for myself.
Ooh,
is what
okay.
I'm doing.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. So 6.5 checks for you.
I like those moves.
Okay. All right, and then now I'm buying for myself. So now we're like going.
Is there anything?
ham.
Are you sure? Yeah, that's. Are you sure anything else, Skag, that was nothing you wanted, ammo or anything like that can come out of there? Or
I just
Otis?
want a medical kit and booze.
Oh, he wanted booze. That's
Oh yeah.
You wanted wasteland fuel
It's
too, right?
10 gallons each. That's why I got 20. 10 gallons each.
Oh, jeez. You guys are rolling around like drums.
I'm going high class here with all this money we got.
Okay, and what did you want?
All right, I need some technological stuff. So first off, I need a data jack 1000,
Okay.
which I had that up here. I don't remember how
It's
much.
150.
It is. 150. Okay. I need a set of mini surveillance cameras.
75. So
All right,
225.
I need a plasma cutter
It's 25, so 250.
and also a data link 2200.
Data link 2200. I gotta see where that is. Hold on.
I think that's on
That's
that.
another 15.
Okay. Also,
So
I
265.
need a little bit of I need a little high ordnance. Do you got any Helicon Magni charges?
Oh, he just goes, not me, but this guy right next to me can get you that stuff.
Okay.
And he goes,
All
by
right.
the way, he goes, my contact got a hold of me. He's willing to, if you have the checks.
I got the checks. How much is it for 20 gallons?
He goes, okay. He thinks he just goes, wait a minute. He goes, I didn't actually ask that. He just goes, hold on 1 second. And he just goes, okay, so he's only willing to move in gallons, right?
Right.
You want 20 gallons. It's going to cost you right around 2,500 checks.
2,500.
It's pretty steep.
You got a deal.
Okay.
Yes.
I immediately agree. Don't haggle at all.
He automatically he data texts Otis and obviously Otis and Skag that says your wasteland fuel is on the way.
Yeah, I got your stuff. Don't you worry.
I'm just gonna hug Otis out of nowhere now. It's not even say anything. Just give him a hug.
He
I'm gonna
merely,
squirm out.
he merely says that he goes that's completely fine. He just goes, he'll meet you at the bar and you guys can settle the deal there. Transfer credits over to him, and then he'll get you the cargo.
Okay. All right. What about those?
He goes,
Okay.
Did
So I go to
you
the other
want to
guy.
know the guy's name?
I thought you said he'd contact me. Okay. Yes. What's his name?
Okay, so he says he'll meet you in the bar. He goes, the gentleman's name is Remo.
And the light bulb goes off. I go. Perfect.
He just goes, oh, okay.
And
He
then
goes,
I go,
do you know Remo?
What bar is that again?
Okay, you fucking weirdo, get out.
The Last Chance Bar. He said he just came in. He's there.
Okay. If you let him know, I'll be there in. What's time? 10 clicks? 10 minutes? I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, if it's fine. 1 hour is a click. It's a solar click.
Okay.
so-
Oh, okay.
Within 10 hours.
I'll be there in 10 hours. Wait up for me.
I'm really gonna work these magnetic charges for a little while, dude. Rev is like
I'm gonna hit the bathhouse.
Rev is like spending everyone else's money and buying them, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
throwing them on stuff.
With glee, not even haggling at anything.
Okay, so you just want to get those charges?
Yeah, the Helicon magnet charges that like stick to metal that do concussive damage.
Where are those at?
And I have to do math now with all these things, so I know how much money I'm giving each person.
I was trying to follow along, but then I got mixed up.
It was 265 times 265 plus 2,500. 12? No.
1250 is half of 2,500, right? Because I'm charging each of these guys half for this,
Oh,
right?
okay. Then it's
That's what I'm
yeah.
doing.
You work that out yourself.
I'm doing the math. This is my CPA.
Yes.
Yeah, the magnet charges are 25. 25 per.
25 per. All right, let me get 2 of those.
Okay, so that's 50. So that puts you at 310. Or no,
Okay.
305. I
Cool.
think.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's everything I need.
Okay.
So I'm gonna immediately go to the Last Chance bar.
Okay. So you have a nice bag full slung over your shoulders. You kind of start sashaying down to the.
I got my Victoria's Secret bag.
As you kind of like sashaying down to the bar. Um, the gentleman tells you that you just look for the gentleman with the eye patch,
Gentleman with the eye patch. Got it.
and usually he's dressed very, very nice.
Eye
Son of a
patch,
bitch.
dressed nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know,
He already drove by.
I know exactly that it's the guy that you guys saw, but like, nope, it's all cigarette. That's all I saw.
okay.
Okay. So I walk into, sorry, I was doing my math, so I know how much money I'm giving to each of my
Sure.
people here.
So you kind of go
Okay.
in there again. The bar is really bustling. Tons of stuff is going on. A lot of gambling done in the corner. And this, as you remember, it's kind of a 2-story level, and there's a kind of a landing on top. And up
Okay.
there, just kind of sitting up against the railing, smoking a cigarette, is in a very, very nice white dapper suit. He's carrying a cane that he's tapping on his foot as his kind of legs are up. Is a gentleman with slick back salt and pepper hair with an eye patch, just sitting up there, just smoking and drinking.
Okay. I'm going to walk up the stairs to get to the landing, and I'm going to approach from where he can see me because I don't want to sneak up
Sure.
on
2
this
gentlemen
guy.
who are sitting on 2 other tables immediately come up and stop right in front of you. Can we
Okay.
help you?
My name is Rev. I'm meeting a Remo about some wasteland fuel.
I love it.
They kind of look at you and they just go, "Do you have the money? The checks?"
I click up on my thing and I pull up my account and just show them the numbers.
They have some kind of like little scanner. They just quickly scan it, shows what the amount is. And he just goes, "You can deal with us. Transfer it over, and you'll have your 20 gallons of wasteland fuel. You just tell us where to deliver it."
This is a large order, and I need assurances that I'm dealing with somebody on the level here.
Go ahead and roll persuasion.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I rolled a 20.
Okay. They immediately look at you and they just go, "Hold right here." He walks over, leans down, whispers into the gentleman's ear.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even kind of look back, just goes, "Oh."
Okay.
The guy walks up to you again. These are both humans. They're large guys. They're almost the size of Skag, and they just go, "Go ahead, take a seat."
And I lean over quietly and trying to keep below the kind of general murmur of the inn or the tavern, and I say, "The man who wants the wasteland fuel, his name is Mortimer."
He doesn't even look at you. Just goes, "Are you serious?"
And Rev says, "I'm new to this subterfuge thing, so I may have made a mistake previously."
And he looks at you. At this point, he actually turns to you, and you actually see his good eye, which is like a really, really deep blue when he looks at you, and then kind of looks past you and just goes, "I was told there was 3 of you."
One of our group has a slight paranoia problem, so they're outside.
He stops you. "If I am going to deal with you, I deal with all 3 of you. Get them here."
Are you willing to meet outside the walls?
And he looks at you and he just goes, "Maybe you don't seem to understand what I just told you. Get them here."
All right.
And
I'll
with
need
that,
a
a
contact.
waitress kind of comes up, puts down a drink, kind of nods to her. He just takes a sip, puts it down, just merely waiting for you to
leave
or
Or
to
to
do whatever
get
you're
that
gonna
beer.
do. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Good. Otis, you guys there?
Yeah, what's up?
I have
I'm
met
in the
our
bush back.
contact, and he will not speak to us unless we're all here.
That sounds fishy.
I don't think this is the kind of guy you argue with. If we want a back door to the place we're going, I think you guys need to get in here.
I'm gonna glare at Skag.
He glares at you, Skag.
I'm glaring back.
Ooh.
Son of a bitch.
Skag's been his glare game has been really good for the past two days.
Yeah. I can't go there, man. I'm not even kidding. I'm not talking back to Rev. I'm talking just to Skag with this.
Skag.
I want to just knock him out and then just throw him over my back and go in.
Roll strength. Roll awareness.
I got awareness?
Yeah.
3.
I got a fucking 2.
So he does.
Bro, you had a better chance of surviving on my back, so I can say you're drunk. So joke's on you, Otis.
So
You're alive going in
Otis,
now.
Otis, for some reason or another, just he doesn't see the punch coming. He doesn't see the punch coming, but for some reason or another, the punch just kind of like glances off your head. Doesn't even get you clean.
What was that?
Rev's like just waiting. So you guys coming or what?
You're just hearing a small little tussle. Skag, what do you want to do?
I mean, if I can't knock him out at this point, I just want to try to drag him in there. I'm not gonna sit outside and argue all day. I want to go make some money.
Roll strength. Let's try it again. Go ahead and
I
roll
rolled-
your go.
Roll the 19.
Okay, go ahead and roll your strength, Otis. He's just gonna. He looks like he just wants to grab you and take you now.
15.
Well, he kind of grabs you. He kind of grabs you and he kind of like picks you up, and you're literally just kind of like being drugged towards up and over the bridge. Are you kicking and screaming?
I'm trying. I'm not screaming, but I'm trying to wrestle away as best. I mean, it's obvious I can't, but I'm trying to bustle through, but I can't.
Gotcha. Okay. With that, you're trying to fight him, but he's got a pretty good grip on you as he's kind of dragging you through. Now, without any issues, Skag has you just kind of like, he's not trying to pull you and grab you anymore. He's trying to like get you like right up against him, like you're just two guys just coming into Cambaran as best as you can. Otis's face
Two
is
best friends.
Yeah, Otis's face is just of pure horror.
Yep.
As you guys are trying to you're standing in the line, you're going up into there. He just kind of like walks up to you, and because you guys aren't on anything, or some of the guards just come right directly up to you, and they kind of like look at you. Do you try to do anything, Skag, to help facilitate this illusion that maybe he's a bit drunk? You just have like kind of a paranoid guy who looks like he's just like, nah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at him and say, "Wasteland feel."
Go ahead and roll persuasion.
Fucking 18.
The moment he says that to you, you're just you immediately something goes off in you, Otis, and you think to yourself, "Oh yeah, Wasteland."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been kind of wanting to get my hands on some of that.
Yeah,
And with that, you kind of like, all right, man, all right, I'll go in there.
All right.
Luckily, the guy comes up to you, scans Skag's ID. No issue. Skag's been in and out of here without any problem. Luckily for you, yours still holds up true.
The fake one I hacked
the base
way,
one that
way
he
back
hacked. He doesn't know how long it's going to do that. As you guys kind of like go into like a side door that's just made for individual people. The big, obviously large doors are made for the big transports and stuff. As you guys kind of walk in, and Rev, you kind of like are sitting there next to this gentleman, Remo. He merely kind of looks at you and just goes, once your friends get here, we'll talk business. Fair enough?
Perfectly fair.
Because I've heard all about your little plan. It's a dangerous plan.
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Everything's possible. If done properly and prepared. But if you want this information and you want my help, because it's going to cost.
I understand.
And by the way, why do you need all this wasteland fuel?
My friends like it.
He kind of like he leans back, takes a drag off the thing again, kind of flicks it, turns his head, and he just goes,
One of them's a cook, though.
a cook. A cook. Cooking with wasteland fuel.
You know,
Fair
better
enough.
steaks, wasteland fuel jerky.
I've known a lot of people who've dealt in wasteland fuel, and usually it's not very good. It always ends up bad for them. Hopefully that doesn't befall you guys. And then with that, we'll end our session here tonight.
Nice.
As you negotiate with Remo for wasteland fuel, 20 gallons of wasteland fuel, and other
I'm
things.
so pumped.
This should be fun next week when you guys actually get to meet and see what transpires hanging out with Remo and his
You better have our
connections.
fucking wasteland fuel when we get there, you know? Otherwise there's gonna be problems.
I like the fact that it was just like 20 gallons and you're just like, oh, I when I said he only deals in bulk and you're just like 20 gallons, man.
Is that bulk enough for you?
Is that bulk enough? That works.
I did tell him as much as he could get.
Absolutely,
I
that's
could get 3
absolutely.
grenades, but oh man, we got 20 gallons of wasteland fuel.
Well, either or, I want to thank you guys so much for this last session. You guys have been awesome. Again, to everybody who has been watching, especially you, Renus, we thank you so much for hanging out. Always remember that this is a weekly RPG session that happens every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This game is called Horizons Unknown After Earth. Again, my name is Scott Shogii. I'm actually the creator and developer of the game. My awesome cast of Mr. Rev 118, aka Ryan. Everybody kind of knows him on Ran 118, his awesome channel. We have Eli, my son, who's not my son, who's been blowing on his arm all day because I think he got a tattoo.
It fucking hurts.
Yeah, okay.
So
And you can always find him at Eli's Got Jokes. That's kind of like where he's at everywhere. And of course, Dave, aka Burger, who you can find him on burger.tv_. Once he gets his computer back up and rolling, he's an awesome streamer as well. We again want to thank you guys so much. Remember, these are always uploaded to my YouTube channel, so you can click on exclamation point YT to get the YouTube link, or just click the YouTube tab as well. And we want to thank you guys so much for everything. You guys have a wonderful evening, and until we see you when we see you, bye. Take care, guys. Later.
Bye.